Due to possible harmful extremist content, parental discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of the station, its affiliates, or advertisers. The use of the show is only allowed with the express written permission of the producer and the host. So get ready for 2 hours of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show starting right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 8th, 2026. Sorry, I had to lean into my screen there a little bit. It was a little bit out of focus. What a great night. Tonight we've got with us, of course, Bullhorn Barry. How are you doing, Barry?
Good evening, John. Thanks for having me again tonight, man. Love it.
Oh, always a pleasure, man. You're my co-host for Wednesday, so I, can't do the show without you, buddy.
Never take it for granted, though. I never take it for granted.
Love having you here, man. You always bring great perspective to any conversation we have. So let's dive right into it. 24 hours ago, I was watching the clock. It was 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And I'm thinking, all right, are we bombing them? What's going on? Are we about to destroy every power plant and every bridge and everything necessary for life, desalination plants, water storage, dams, all of it gone? Like, really just absolutely commit near genocide in a country of, however many hundreds of millions of people. When you see Iran laid up over the United States, it goes from like the Mississippi River over to, say, almost Denver, and then from like the top of Texas all the way almost up to Canada, to put it in perspective, the size of the country. Mm-hmm. And, to put that big of an area where, granted, there's only a couple major cities because, it's mostly mountains and whatnot. But you're starving people at that point. You're going to kill tens and tens of millions of people, as President Trump was threatening to do very vocally. We heard him on Sunday morning, come out on a little bit of a tirade, dropped an F-bomb, which, of course, deeply offended Tucker Carlson. But we diverted all that. Here we are tonight, and, we get news last night that it wasn't to be. He wasn't going to drop the hammer, which I don't think he was ever going to do to the extent that I just described. I mean, that's what he was kind of threatening, and it was a way to get them to say, okay, let's do something here. And so they capitulated in the final minutes here. Mm-hmm. And we've agreed to some terms. We haven't agreed to some terms. All kinds of back and forth on this as to, what the ultimate outcome is going to be. It's still very much up in the air. And Iran has rained down, since the ceasefire, a large number of missiles into Israel, drones and whatnot into Saudi Arabia, into the UAE. They've destroyed the pipeline that crosses Saudi Arabia since the ceasefire was addressed. And they say they had a right to do all this because Israel was still, fighting against in Lebanon, right? Mm-hmm. And so that wasn't part of the agreement, though. What Israel was doing with southern Lebanon was not part of the agreement that the United States made with Iran, and Israel's part of it as well. They're in a ceasefire mode, even though they're getting bombed still. Saudi Arabia is now pissed. United Arab Emirates is on the brink, man. Think about this luxury town, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Dubai especially, though, the palms. Remember the world? They tried to make the world. Didn't succeed, but they had the money to make islands in the ocean out there. Islands made of sand in the ocean in the Middle East that you build mansions on. And these are not small. They're huge mansions, huge islands. The Palms is several miles from tip to I don't know, from base to top. Mm-hmm. It is huge, and it's loaded with billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of wealth from the people who live there and their assets. Mm-hmm. And they're taking bombs. What happens to those places if they suddenly fall out of popularities to some degree? And then the maintenance becomes an issue. You've got an island made of sand in the middle of quote unquote global sea rising that I hear all the time about on PBS. They can't cover a story about anything without bringing up global sea rising. And yet they're building islands in the sand. Who's ensuring that, by the way, if we are in such dire global straits? But I diverge. It's a country, the UAE, with powerful, powerful people all over the place, that is now seeing its very existence threatened because it's not safe. It's not a safe place anymore. People look at it and say, wow, man, that's a dangerous spot. You could get bombed at any moment. Your home could be destroyed. Is it worth it? Why not go somewhere else? If you've got a yacht, you can't take it in there because you got to go to the Strait of Hormuz to get it out. So, I mean, it goes on and on and on, folks. The people that they're pissing off are powerful people, and Iran is just doing it. They don't care. And so it's happening. Now, Trump's not making a big deal out of this because he doesn't want to have to be called out for the threats he made, is the way I see it. And Barry, I'll let you talk a little bit. Do you think, I mean, I'm showing that they're violating it right now. It's happening. And yet we're not seeing Trump just say, okay, enough, let's go, bomb them. Take out the bridges. Do you think he was ever going to do the kind of rain of destruction that I mentioned, or even a fraction of it?
No, in fact, I made a post about it yesterday, and it's a real short post. I'll just go ahead and say it. I said if I was a betting man, I'd bet big that Trump is not going to blow up all of Iran. But that's what we're hearing from the anti-Trump doom and gloomers. They believe Trump is going to commit full-blown genocide. You can mark my words, that's not going to happen. And then today I pointed out the fact is like, do people not know by now how Trump operates? I mean, come on, you know how he operates. I know how he operates. Do they not know that he says all kinds of absurd things to throw people off his scent? Look, as I said, it's never going to happen. And I could cite 1,001 reasons why he wouldn't do that. Okay. I don't even think he's going to blow up he's not going to do anything that's going to be seen by a large swath of the population as a war crime. I can almost guarantee that. Now, I've said I don't know a lot about a lot of things happening right now, and that's the safe thing when you're unsure. But I'm sure about one thing. Trump's not going to blast Iran into oblivion. That's rhetoric. That's called hyperbole. That's called strategy. And if people don't get that by now, they just need to shut up. And then let me say one quick thing about Tucker. I like Tucker, but I've got to admit, man, I saw that video, and I don't know what's happened to him, but he sounds like a woke person, man, like a crybaby, whining wokester. And I like Tucker because he's doing a lot of good, and I believe wholeheartedly, unlike Nick Fuentes, I believe he means well. I don't think Nick Fuentes means well. I think he's a bad apple. I think Tucker Carlson is a good guy. He's wrong about the fact that, radical Islam is a problem. So I don't know what's wrong with Tucker. Hopefully he'll kind of come to his senses. But he's also doing a lot of good. He's also doing a lot of interviews that are really, punching at the establishment, the corrupt establishment in a lot of different ways. So I don't just throw him out and say, oh, I'm not going to listen to him anymore. Same thing with Alex Jones. I totally disagree with his absurd over-the-top analysis of what's happening. He thinks he thought Iran was going to be genocided, more or less, and that Trump has now betrayed us. He's done. He's finished. He's got a heart disease. He's got dementia. I'm just like, come on, man. Really?
Yeah.
Dude? Even if this war is a bad thing, we have got to stick with Trump, or else there's going to be all kinds of hell to pay. And we can talk about that later in the show.
Yeah, exactly. And for now, though, I think I'm trying to see here if there's anything else I need to add to what we're talking about here. As far as just what news is out there, what kind of things are happening. There's some rumors right now that the Strait of Hormuz has been shut down, but the White House is virulently in disagreement with that, saying it is definitely open. From Carolyn Levitt, we've seen an uptick in traffic in the Strait today. She added, it's been relayed to Trump privately that the straits remain open, and these reports publicly are false. So there's talks of Iran wanting to charge something like $1 a barrel toll to go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
which, okay, yeah, I don't see that happening. That's never. Now, Trump is saying we can maybe do that if we get half, if America gets half.
Right.
50
Right.
cents a barrel.
He's a negotiator, and we should expect him to do that.
Or shouldn't it just be free to go through there? You'd think Saudi Arabia or whoever else would be like, hey, man, we're not paying no tax to go through, international waters.
Well, they may have to be paying for some of their renovation because I think they've had some damage. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and the trick here is that we've been paying for the security all along. And now, if Trump's saying 50 cents, if you can document that 50 cents is really going towards the security to keep the strait safe, then it's like, hey, NATO's not going to be here anymore either. So why don't you start your own little group here? We'll look over it, and we're just going to keep the Strait of Hormuz safe, and we'll do it by taxing the oil that leaves it. And I would think even Saudi Arabia might be like, okay, all right, we can do that as long as it's safe and we can actually ship our oil. And we don't have to worry about Iran going nutso every once a decade or however often they do so. And then suddenly you're back in war again, and the strait closes and oil prices go up and yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. We'll see. It's interesting. But I think that kind of sums it up. We have another article here quickly about how they were amassing like a lot of kids and stuff to go out and like circle hands around the power plants.
Yeah.
So that they could sort of be human shields, which again, we talk about breaking international laws. That's definitely a no-no.
There's a lot of different opinions in Iran. There's a lot of people that are Iranian from at least videos claiming to be Iranian people that want this war to happen because they are oppressed. Mostly women are the ones doing the videos who are oppressed by the chauvinistic, sexist, dictatorial regime. But I want to say one thing about this whole thing, because I think people, and again, I get it. There seems to be some real danger in this whole thing, but man, I just don't sense it for some reason. I feel like we're still moving forward. I still feel like we're progressing. And I literally made a post that was referencing one of my forecasts where I talked about rapid change coming. And I think that is going to play a part in this Iran war. And what I mean by that is there's a good chance that in less than 3 months, the Iran war will barely be an afterthought because things are moving so rapidly and so fast. And I don't see that changing, not even with this war. And Trump has got a lot of business to take care of before the 4th of July, before the midterms. This thing is, I'm telling you right now, it is not going to go on forever. It is not going to be prolonged like the doom and gloomers think.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. God bless her soul. And we're going to celebrate it. We're going to have a big, beautiful 4th of July. And we can't be bogged down in wars or any of that crap. We need to be out here celebrating the fact that we've actually freed Venezuela. They're in a much better place. They're getting better every day.
Yeah.
Right? We're opening embassies. The oil's flooding in. Contracts are being signed. And money's being made there. And it's being directed now more so towards the people. I mean, it's never going to be what it was, pre-communism, at least not for a while. But at least the people are seeing some of the results of that now. Before they saw nothing. And, the industry was just dwindling down to nothing. And the people got poorer and poorer and poorer. And so we could see Cuba as well. That's the thing. Trump needs to turn away from there. Remember the Monroe Doctrine, right? And look to Cuba and help make things down there a little more successful. We need to focus on our neighbors and making sure that they can, maybe taste freedom too. And that's a place that, if they really want to get their act together, I could see in 10, 15 years, if they were all about it, yeah, we could make them a state, It'd be a wonderful addition to the United States. The people are amazing. And what a beautiful place. It's it's tropical paradise, really. So, yeah, let's get the communism out of there. Let's get some freedom going down there. Let's get some, real elections without any voting machines. Let's do it. Everybody show up with ID and you can all vote. And, we'll find actual good people that can get voted in down there and actually run Cuba as a free state. It would be amazing. And then you got this quagmire out here with Iran. And if you can put some sort of an end to that as well, where you said, Barry, that we're looking back on this in 3-4 months from now, and it was just a blip, that would be fantastic. But it needs to be a blip. It can't be a prolonged forever war.
Exactly. I think that's going to be the case because Trump already has an out, and I'm not saying that it's a justifiable out or anything like that, but essentially, if it doesn't go exactly like everybody wants it to go, he'll still declare it a victory, said we achieved our goals, and, things will go back to normal. So I don't, because a lot of people think that Trump has such an ego that he's going to continue to double down until he just destroys Iran altogether. That's not going to happen, folks. I mean, that's what Alex Jones types, that's his rhetoric lately. I don't know what's gotten into him, man, but he's like gone off the rails, in my opinion. But hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Ain't that the truth? So let's see here. I don't know. Do we want to move off of Iran? Are you ready to put a lid on that, or anything else you want to say on that subject?
No, move right along. I got out pretty much what I wanted to say. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I did too, I think. And so thank you for that, Mr. Producer. And, I guess we'll move on to this. Here, let's move on to something actually fun. The biggest movie in the theaters right now, Super Mario Galaxy movie, $400 and some million over the last couple of weeks, right? And it's, it's good to see them put out a movie where, hey, man, let's not make it woke and gay. And they just made a movie. And guess what? I think Brie Larson was even in it. And I didn't hear her say a peep about the thing. I'm sure her producer and whatever were like, you cannot go out on Twitter and talk anything about this movie at all, right? Complete silence. If you say one negative thing about it, we claw back all your payments and you're done. So it worked. Yeah. And it's just kicking butt. It's just a fun time, I guess, at the theater. And the critics hated it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people that were woke didn't like it too much because it wasn't woke enough. So they're upset about it. But, when you just make a movie for people, it does pretty well. But I still don't think that's going to be the formula that Hollywood follows. They're fully committed to the woke agenda. They're fully committed to dividing us. They're fully committed to their communist, globalist, socialist, tyrannical ways. They're never going to change, man. There's a few outliers. Occasionally they let something good pass because they have to make some money, or, they'll completely collapse.
Yeah. There was another Disney movie out here too that I saw kind of bombed, and I bet if you look into it, it was woke and lame.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And that's why it bombed. That's why I made like 20 million instead of 400 million over a couple weeks, right? Just huge money. And it's got Jack Black in it. We all love Jack Black. And again, he doesn't go out and talk down the movie because there's not enough women in it before it comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or say, gosh, the original was racist. The original Mario brother were two racist Italians who, colonized the land that they lived in there, where they saved the queen. She wasn't Italian. It was colonization, man.
But he did backpedal on his sidekick when his sidekick said something about, I don't know if it was killing Trump or something bad about Trump. I can't remember the exact same thing. And he said that was wrong. But then later he backpedaled on that, because Trump is bad. Orange man is bad, And
yeah.
I just see
he wants to work in Hollywood, so he has to do it.
I know, but man, it's like you're weak and you're pathetic, dude. He's got enough money that he doesn't have to play the game. But he does, because apparently enough money is not enough and enough fame is not enough until you've had, all you can possibly handle and more.
He's got demandicitis, He's loaded. He's supposed to be Tenacious D, this rock god, Yeah. And like you say, he's got the money. What are you still plugging this thing for? But what does he make off this thing? If it gets $1 billion in the box office, what kind of bonus does he see for that? He did the Minecraft movie. What did he make for that?
It depends on what's in the contract. If you're a Tom Cruise, you put it in your contract that you make a certain amount of money up front, plus you get a percentage of the box office sales.
Yeah, and like I said, if it hits $1 billion, you get a brand new yacht or something, a G80 airplane.
Yeah. I think it's
But,
just bragging rights with those people. You know, they want to be successful so they can kind of brag among themselves. I think even more so than bragging to us common folk. I think it's more of a competition among themselves. You know, look at me. I'm A-list. I'm a billionaire, because that's kind of a big thing now to hit the billionaire status. You know, you got Jay-Z, Beyonce. You got all these people hitting the billionaire status. Of course, Oprah's been a billionaire for years, but a lot of artists and celebrities eventually become. Well, I think Justin Bieber's wife is a billionaire now. She, or close to it, or $500 million or something like that. She signed some, I think, perfume contract or something. And of course, he's worth a few $100 million, Justin Bieber is, because he sold all of his music. He sold it all for one lump sum.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, man. He's probably going to regret that. But at the same time, I guess the theory is I can just write more. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like I'm alive and kicking. I got another 40 years to live. Like, I'll just write more music. I don't know how that works, but it's an interesting concept to just sell all your music at. What is he, like 40?
Oh, I don't think he's that old. He might be. I think he's in his 30s.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild. So you must just be thinking, yeah, you know, I got I'll write music till I'm 80.
Right. You know, they get a deal, man, here and there, and then they're set for life. You know, all these people. Oh, you know, that's Kim Kardashian. I mean, they strike a deal for some. Even Kanye. You know, he probably makes more money off the deals than he does the music. So, you know, that's probably why they like to be in good with those people, is because they're looking for that big payout that's in a deal.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know, the blackmail and all that stuff, we can always get into that as well. You know, it is Hollywood. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to bring this up because I know you like to talk about this kind of stuff, Barry, and I figured you'd have a lot to say. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun to talk about Hollywood, man, because they're always just getting weirder by the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that, and we'll come back to more stuff from Europe after the break here, but I saw Kanye West, was kicked out of a festival, a UK music festival, just for being, you know, Kanye West, being too, like, all their sponsors started dropping out because he's too controversial nowadays. And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, the whole concert has been canceled as of this point, right? So
yeah,
kind of wild there. And and the government didn't approve his application to even enter the country in the first place. So he was denied the ability to go to England.
Yeah. Well, he did his mea culpas, you know, for all the offensive things he said about the Jews, and apparently that got him to where he could, you know, do his show again, and he's performing in front of large crowds and stadium-size concerts with all kinds of tricked out, you know, stuff on stage, looking super cool, you know, and which makes me think, is all of this cancellation really a cancellation, or is it more hype to get him more famous?
And what did he do, though? See, that's the thing I was wondering the article never got to, is what did he actually do? They mentioned some anti-Semitic comments, but is that enough to get you kicked out of England for life?
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they want to control. I mean, if you don't think exactly like they want you to think, man, you just can't come in. I mean, it's just Nutsville, dude. And that's how tyranny starts, too, you know. It starts with, you know, encroaching here and then there. And then before you know it, man, if you speak out against anything that they don't want you speaking out against, you know, the corruption or the scandal, that's why they really do all this stuff, because at the end of the day, they don't want your eyes focused in on all their corruption and their scandal.
Mm-hmm.
So they put this tyranny in at entry levels to get you used to it so that they can crack down completely on you.
Yeah, and look at this. I mean, they'd suddenly decided that what he said was worthy of censorship, and so he wasn't allowed in the country, and then everybody backs out, drops out, and suddenly the whole concert falls apart. And so everyone out there that was planning on going to this over the weekend now has nothing to do.
They suffer.
And what is it all about? Well, he said some comment that the Big Brother didn't like. So now nobody gets to have fun this weekend. So Anyway, on that note, we're going to go to break. Folks, this is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we will be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break, guys.
Sweet.
Man, very cool.
Yeah, Roger was
Yeah, I didn't
trying
realize
to say
it was just his comments. Wow.
not everywhere in Japan they bury, not bury, but do cremation. I'm thinking it's maybe just certain families have plots and that's it, or but whatever they do, they do. It's their country. They can do whatever they want there.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure on behalf of Japan, they want to say thank you for letting them do that.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Barry?
There's a video circulating on X about something we've talked about before, but apparently it's kicked back in again. I'm trying to think exactly. I'm looking it up right now, trying to find out what state it's in. But they arrested a guy, charged him with seven different crimes for collecting rainwater at his house. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about tyranny, man. When the state wants to claim they own the rainwater that falls in your house, that's tyranny, dude.
Mm-hmm. And the problem is rainwater is really good. And at least it tastes really good. Every time I've had rainwater, I was like, damn, this is like surprisingly good water.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Barry, after the planes fly by and it rains the next day?
There's definitely a connection between geoengineering and cloud seeding. It doesn't mean just because they're geoengineering, they're cloud seeding, but they could theoretically seed the fake clouds. That's not a problem. And there's other technologies as well. But when they spray real heavy, I mean like all day heavy, and it ends up in a gray out, it seems like from my observation that the chances of it raining are very high, extremely high. And we'll probably have one of those the next day or two, a couple more full gray outs. We have full gray outs about twice a week now. They spray 6 days a week, and 2 of those days they spray so heavily that it's a full gray out where you don't see any blue skies whatsoever. But they have to do that very heavily throughout the day and put layers upon layers. And then it turns, that white haze turns into a gray haze that turns into a dark haze that eventually turns to rain. So how that process actually works, I'm no expert. I've had ChatGPT explain it to me, how it's possible and feasible.
Here, real quick, I got a message from Jack. He's not going to be able to come in tonight. You want an extra hour?
I'm going to run out of articles. But if Barry wants to lead, I'll do backup.
You want to do that, Barry?
I can. I'll try. Let's put it that way.
I like to keep it live if I can,
Okay. Okay, it was in Oregon. All the water that falls on your property is owned by the state. And he built 3 reservoirs on his 170-acre property, collecting rainwater and snow melt for personal use and wildfire protection. So he's actually doing something really good with it, and to feed the birds and stuff like that. I mean, not feed the birds, but let the birds have water to drink and the animals. But the state told him to drain the reservoirs, and he refused. 30 days in jail, and now 9 misdemeanor convictions. I apologize, not 7, but 9. $1,500 fine. I heard it was more than that, like $15,000. But
well, Barry, you just signed up for an extra hour.
Here,
so put that in
we're
the
under
file
30 seconds. To let you guys know. So
in the third hour.
Yeah, that'd be.
Well, there's a video of it, of the people in Oregon acting like tyrants, demanding that he's a bad guy.
Okay, here's your countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 8th, 2026. And oh yeah, what a crazy time we live in. You know that Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. We live in interesting times.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about London and this wireless festival and how they canceled it after British officials denied an entry visa to rap mogul Kanye West, who was set to deliver the event's headliner. And the country did that because apparently of his anti-Semitic comments in the past. Well, I mean, let's go. What, he wrote a song about like his praise for Hitler or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there. But I was mixing him up with some of the other guys out there who, you know, have actually been convicted of some sexual stuff. He's never had any of that come down. It's just anti-Semitic comments, which is crazy.
Well,
Crazy, man.
A lot of it was satire meant to. I'm going to say this because I'm told I can't say it. I mean, that's kind of what I've understood him saying in when he's really called out, like, why are you doing this? Well, because I'm told I can't. And I get that. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I get that. You know, when you start telling people what they can and can't say, that's going to become very problematic, man. You know, there's no question that the power structure in the world today wants to create a hive mind, and they don't want anybody outside of that hive mind. You know, if you want to get all spiritual about it, they call it the age of Aquarius, where they believe everybody's going to rise to this higher level of consciousness, and we're all going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and have a beautiful one world order. Well, it doesn't work that way, because there's called humanity. That's the problem, right? Humanity is imperfect and always will be in this life.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's not this kumbaya stuff. We'd all love that, but there's a lot of greedy people out there, you know, and they want the power and they want the control. And as long as they're holding on to so much power, they're always going to want more and more and more, and it never is enough. So we've got to push back. And that's why, you know, you and I do this show, Barry, just to kind of get the word out and say, hey, man, we see you, we know what you're doing, and we don't like it. And I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll bring my point. I was going to actually bring up in a few minutes and a different story. So I'll just wait until we get to it to dive into that bag of worms.
Well, it's just a short point that I'm just going to kind of drop it right now, because we'll talk about it later, maybe in the third hour or what have you. But I think it's important that everybody understands, and I know that I've said this on the show many, many, many times, that the power structure, the globalists, call them whatever you want to, they are using what's called a foothold strategy to basically put their agenda in wherever they can, and they are being relentless. I feel like they've just like doubled down, man, even more so, right? Remember at first when Trump became president, they seemed kind of down and out. At their meetings, they were talking about how they had lost, but I don't think they feel that way now, because, you know, they are gaining ground in all kinds of areas, wherever they can get their foothold. And I think that, and we'll touch on this later, we need to be aware of this and what it is we're fighting for and why we're fighting. Because if we ever drop the ball again and let these lunatics have the power, I'm not going to say anything else. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't end well. You know, it just doesn't end well. So yeah, that's the point. You know, make everyone aware of what's going on, and you know, just kind of spread the word, the truths that exist out there. The UN recently, while we're still in England, they all voted to make reparations a thing, and they awarded themselves umpteen $1 trillion of money from, you know, the UK is a big one. Obviously, America laughed it off. You know, we're not even going to entertain it, but the UK will entertain it. You know, suddenly they'll get a bill for, I don't know, $2 trillion. And they'll be like, okay, guys, we got to pay it. It's going to go to all these different countries. They all get a chunk of our money, and it's going to be reparations. And then guess what? We'll look in the mirror and we'll say, we paid reparations, so we're happy. But then that money will get spent, and a year later they'll come back and say, hey, we need another $1 trillion. And let's just make this an annual thing, right? $1 trillion a year forever. And then it'll be 1.5 trillion, and then 2 trillion a year forever. And it never ends.
How much money went out, do you know?
actually went out?
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't think anything yet. It's they just passed this recently.
What are they forecasting though? Like I don't think it's going to be a lot of money. I really don't, but I could be wrong.
Let's see here. I got to scan through the article to actually see if it mentions the amount. So bear with me. Thanks for asking me something like that, Barry. When I've got the article here, but as I've been looking through here, scanning for the actual numbers, I haven't seen it yet. Okay. Okay, Yusuf said countries who received 3.8 million visas and 6.6 billion in aid from Britain are demanding trillions in reparation. Britain's decision to abolish slavery was the most expensive moral foreign policy in history. We won't be punished for it. Under a reform government, if a country demands reparations, we will stop issuing visas. So they're just saying for Britain alone, it will be trillions with an S, trillions, plural.
Well, it says that's what they want. It's not saying that's what they're going to agree to, right?
It's what they're demanding.
Yeah, that's what the people that want the reparations are demanding. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that, man. They'll be lucky to get some chump change.
Well, that's the nature of the UN, though. They vote on it, right? So you got, Antigua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Caribbean Community, CARICOM nations, Dominica, Ghana, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, Kenya, Nigeria, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenadine. You know where I'm going here, right? Weigh that against England gets a vote too. Now, hey, should we get trillions of dollars? How many yeses we got? Okay, I count 15 on this side and 1 over here. So basically what they're saying is they're not going to pay it. Farage is saying we're not going to pay it if this comes up, and we're going to block visas from any country that demands payment.
I mean, there's a lot of problems in the world today. I think reparations is like at the bottom of the list of things that need to be solved right now. We have, just even America, we have infrastructure problems in all kinds of different places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bridges that aren't safe.
All kinds of problems, yeah. And we're just pouring money down empty, bottomless money pits everywhere with no benefit to show for it. We do it all the time. Show me anything, any like big government project we're doing right now that's impressive, and you say, "Wow, I'm glad the government's doing that." Okay, we took Artemis around the moon, great, but it didn't build a road. Where
Makes you wonder where our priorities are. I tend to think our priorities are not in the right place. And to the people in power, I don't think that bothers them. I think they basically have an agenda, and they care very little about we the people on a global scale. I mean that. I think at least in America, there's a few good players. I think Trump overall is a good guy, man. I think he wants to do well for America. I think he wants America to truly succeed. I may not agree with everything that he does, but I know that he doesn't want to tank America like a lot of the globalists do. And they want to basically level every nation down so that they can be more easily managed, right? Micromanage every aspect of our lives. I mean, the last thing the power structure wants is us to be empowered and not need them.
Exactly.
Last thing they want us dependent so that we're down on our knees begging for the crumbs from the table.
Mm-hmm. And in New York, to just show you how bad it is, we recently saw a story. I think they're spending $60,000 to $80,000 per homeless person there to, find them food and shelter and whatnot, right? If you just gave everybody that's homeless a check for $86,000, they wouldn't be homeless.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Childcare. Mamdani said, okay, we're going to give childcare to a bunch of, government employees and yada. It's $60,000 per year per kid in the program he's putting together. That's what it costs the state or the city to put one kid through childcare. $60,000 a year. What? You know what I mean? That's how they run things. It's just a bottomless pit. You can say, hey, yeah, we're going to do all these wonderful things. And then you look at the bottom line. You're like, how did we get here?
I think it would be best to do everything in your power to make the economy strong for everyone. And then the people that are suffering, that's where nonprofit organizations come into place, volunteerism and so forth. That's the way it used to be handled. Nobody paid for a doctor bill if they couldn't afford it back in the day. There were charities and organizations that took care of that. There's still some today. You just have to know who they are. Yeah. So the church in America, which I've said many times, the institutionalized church in America needs reform, man, because the stupid gospel prosperity, and I believe in faith, believe me, but this faith message that they're preaching, is a false gospel. They're preaching that faith, if you're poor, it's because you don't have enough faith, or if you're not healed, it's because you don't have enough faith. It's always just a condescending and condemnation, and it's just not really what the Bible says. The Bible really talks about taking care of the poor and the widow and the orphan and all of these kinds of things. I mean, it's reiterated thousands and thousands of times. In fact, one of the things that angered God in the Old Testament was the lack of justice towards the poor. So I don't want the government doing much of anything. I would rather trust a reliable, verified nonprofit, doing the charitable work than the government. Because the government, as we all know, they do that in disguise with their NGOs, where they say we're a good organization and we're helping, but it's just a way to funnel money, dude, and to launder money.
Yeah, it's what it feels like, isn't it? What do they say, that foreign aid is just taking money from poor people in rich countries and giving it to rich people in poor countries?
Yeah. I've heard that, man, and I think it's true to a degree. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what the government does, man. It's just what it does. But anyway, we were talking about the, borders and customs and stuff. So let's get into a comment from Mullen. He is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. Right? Here's what he has to say about, and this is an interesting concept. I want you guys to listen to this.
To keep your state as safe as my state.
But Mr. Secretary, the issue here is that you have states and cities that are sanctuary states
Right.
and cities. And that's part of the issue. It's part of the problem. We saw it in Minnesota. How do you get around that?
Well, I believe sanctuary cities is not lawful. I don't think they're able to do that. And so we're going to take a hard look at this. Just one area we may take a hard look at is some of these cities have international airports. If they're sanctuary cities, should they really be processing customs into their city? I'm seriously, if they're a sanctuary city and they're receiving international flights, and we're asking them to partner with us at the airport, but once they walk out of the airport, they're not going to enforce immigration policy. Maybe we need to have a really hard look at that, because we need to focus on cities that want to work with us.
So you're saying that big cities that are sanctuary cities that have a big airport, they might lose their customs?
Well, I'm saying we're going to have to start prioritizing things at some point, right?
They might lose their customs enforcement. They might just close down international airports and sanctuary cities.
I don't think they're lawful. I mean, you're literally hiding criminals from ICE.
Do you know what that would do to a city like New York? Everyone would have to fly into, I don't know, Akron, Ohio, and then get a flight back. Maybe Pittsburgh. Like, where do you even land? Nowhere in New York. What's a big city on the East Coast that isn't a sanctuary city right now? You'd have to fly into Texas, to Dallas, and then like every international flight has to go through Texas before it can go back to New York or LA. Interesting concept. Interesting concept. I don't know to laugh or cry.
Yeah. This is the time where everybody's got a solution, and not every solution's going to be a good solution. That's for certain. And everybody's got a theory, if you haven't noticed, about everything. Have you noticed how people's sanity is cracking a little bit more lately? It's just my observation. I think people are going over the edge a lot easier than before. I don't know what's causing that, but people are getting way worked up, man. And just even the posts that I make on social media, I mean, I'm like angering people. I think I'm a pretty laid back kind of Clark Kent kind of dude. I'm not trying to tick anybody off, but man, I got people just getting upset with everything I say. It's crazy.
Yeah, fun time, huh?
It doesn't bother me. I'm pretty thick-skinned, so I've been doing this long enough where I don't care what people say. I'm in it to let my voice be heard. Doesn't mean I'm right all the time. It just means I feel like I have something to contribute, and what people do with it is up to them. They can discard it. They can take some of it, take all of it, do whatever they want, man. That's the whole thing. And that's what I encourage people to do, is to think for themselves and to always use a filter, man. To think for yourself. Go deep in your mind and figure out if what this person is saying is true. Don't just accept it, without thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. And, the beautiful thing about having a radio show, Barry, is we get to prognosticate, we get to put our commentary out there. And, it's out there on the record. We forecast trends to a large degree, as you like to say.
Mhm.
And we are spotting trends and we report on them. And they tend to typically be more correct than incorrect. I mean, when I see what the left is out there talking about on a day-to-day basis, it makes no sense. And eventually their logic loopholes implode on themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, it just doesn't all add up. If you keep following them, at some point you have to scratch your head and say, wait, weren't we totally against this when Biden was in office? Now we're for it? How does that work?
Yep.
And so we get that consistency of logic that we've carried through the years, through administrations now, through a few administrations, in my case, through a couple in yours, on the radio, talking about what's going on. And doing it, with the best intentions of really just analyzing it and putting the message out there so people can, hear it all and make up their own minds. And it's great. It's phenomenal to be in that position.
Yeah. And some people are just looking to say that over sensationalized thing, to get people to tune in or to get clicks. And I can honestly say, even though some of the things we might say might be shocking, that's not the reason we say it. And we're not looking for clicks. We're not looking for views. We're just trying to give our point of view. And I feel like that's one thing we can say with pretty much confidence is that we've been pretty steady with our analysis. We're not all over the place, just saying whatever we want to say recklessly. That's ridiculous. I would never do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. It's what's the word? A balance beam. Wasn't a tightrope. It's a tightrope. That's what I was looking for. That we walk where you have to sort of stay with your eyes on the horizon and cover one thing at a time and understand how, it all weaves together and try to just paint a picture for people how we see it at best we can at the time that it's coming out. Like right now, you get back to Iran, right? What do we say? We said our piece, but, at the end of the day, it's probably not going to, turn into World War III by any means. I love seeing the people that are posting Trump is going to take us into World War III, and then when we get a 2-week ceasefire, it's taco. Trump always chickens out. Well, which one do you want? You know what I mean? You just hate Trump at that point.
And they don't understand Trump. I think anybody that understands Trump understands that he had no intention of literally committing mass genocide, blowing Iran to oblivion and killing everybody. Everybody knows. And look, he said, I don't want to do that. Come on, folks, this is Trump. Do you really think that he likes, sort of being seen, which we've talked about that, as a rogue loose cannon a little bit. That's sort of his style because he wants to keep people guessing. But he's the last person, in my opinion, that's going to blow Iran up to oblivion. Can't say that about Netanyahu. He may want to. I don't know. But Trump, no.
Well, I would see Netanyahu, actually. It's I thought you were going to say Biden, but Netanyahu, Russia, I think Russia is actually kind of sided with Iran to a small degree. They're not going to want to get pulled in if UAE, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq are all positioned against Iran. They're not going to side with Iran against, other Arab countries, like especially Saudi Arabia. Never going to happen. They have much better relationships with those countries than they do with Iran. But
how much the rhetoric that we hear is just the fake news reporting stuff that's maybe given to them wrongfully on purpose by intelligence or whatever, or by some unnamed source, as they always like to do. How do we, if we're being honest with each other, Trump can pick up the phone at any moment and contact Putin within 30 seconds if he wants to. And Putin could probably contact Trump within 30 seconds. We have no idea what's going on in their private conversations. What they report in the news may be something entirely different. That's why I always say, all these people that think they know all the answers, have a little bit of humility. because we're only given so much information. We can only dissect so much, and we have to kind of guess at a lot of it.
Yeah, and we, like you say, we have no idea, how many times they might be on speed dial, like, twice a day. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Just had lunch. Thought I'd check in with you. Miss you.
Yeah. Well, it is a bromance.
I mean, I doubt it's like that, but yeah, I'm sure they have a cordial relationship in the background and mutual respect. That's the key, is the mutual respect. You respect him, you get respect back. And if you don't respect Trump, if you think he's a clown, then right now we're getting ready to leave NATO, and we're talking about moving bases out of countries like France and even England. Out.
Yeah.
Gone. We've got massive bases that have been there for years. Potentially Germany. Gone. And we're going to pick other countries that are more friendly and move them there and have those associations with friendly countries that actually want to work with us. France and Spain blocked their airspace to our refueling tankers.
I know, dude.
Just to refuel to get over there. They blocked those. That is the most unally thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. Well, remember, we talked about this on the radio show at least a year ago, maybe even longer than that, where we talked about where NATO's values are no longer aligned with Americans' values. And maybe we need to get out of NATO. And maybe this was a test by Trump to see if that's exactly what we need to do, is get out of NATO. Because think about it. These people don't even believe in free speech, man. Most of these countries that are NATO based, right?
Yeah.
Like we do.
It was the Munich Security Conference, not this winter, but the winter before, where J.D. Vance came out and said, look, why are we protecting you guys? You've lost your sense of freedom of speech. You've lost, you don't have any of the amendment rights that Americans do, the Bill of Rights. They don't have any of those really in Europe. Search and seizure, it just go, name anything in the Bill of Rights, and they really don't have it. If they do, it's very limited. But freedom of speech, the first foremost one that we celebrate here in the United States, is non-existent to the nth degree, especially in England, the country that pretty much invented it. If you can think it, you can say it. And we can't hold it against you. If it's your genuinely held opinion, speak up. We'll debate you. We'll convince you you're wrong. That's the way it's supposed to work. I don't agree with what you have to say, but I'll give my life to defend your right to say it, is how it should work. But that's not how it does work anymore. And so if we're not going to align with their values anymore, why would we be part of their defense? They're far gone. They're too far gone. They're not there anymore. It doesn't work.
Too. They depend on us like, more than any other country. And yet when we need them, when we need to depend on them, they're not there for us. It's obvious, dude. Trump's figuring it out, man. We need to be as independent of a national sovereign nation as possible. That doesn't mean that we would not work with people if we had shared goals. But this little club that's just automatic, that's problematic. You know what I'm saying? Like, because then you're kind of narrowing it down to just, the NATO forces. Well, maybe Trump wants to align himself with somebody else that has a more shared value or shared goal or shared end game. So I see no problem with getting us out of NATO. I don't like it.
Yeah, well, it's just, God, there's human rights councils, There's always Iran is at the head of it. The Women's Rights Council, let's put Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia at the head of that, right? For women's rights. At least I'll give them credit for one thing. They can define a woman. Okay. Other than that, the women there have no rights, but at least they know what a woman is. But rights? Women's rights in Saudi Arabia? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's probably not as bad as I think it is, but I think it's pretty bad over there. I think a lot of these you go into Iran, I think, the women there are forced to wear head coverings or they can get beat and whatnot. Education is limited. Job opportunities as limited as can be. On and on. So, yeah, no, we don't share the values. But anyway, on that note, let's take a break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Kiss
All right, we are on radio break, and you didn't get that in, but oh well. We got John and Linda on Facebook listening to us as well. So, and we got Web Geek Kick over in Boxy and a whole bunch of others, and we got Roger restreaming, as well as the Great Conspiracies restreaming us as well. French Invasion is in here listening. Hazard FTW. Yep. Thanks,
We're multiplying, man.
Oh, man.
We're everywhere. Our networks are massive. They're growing like crazy.
Yep. We're getting there.
We're even broadcasting to the dark side of the moon tonight, man. We are reaching every alien on the planet, the moon. I mean, that's possible. It's amazing.
Yeah, and we're coming to warn them that the Anunnaki are coming to destroy and wipe out all those lizard people. All right?
Hey, the lizard, the reptilian thing is getting a lot of headlines these days.
It is, isn't it?
Well, you know, I think one thing that was because of what Matt Gates said, you know, that they're doing alien crossbreed, I don't know, and whatever, creating basically Nephilim type things.
Genetic manipulations.
Genetic aliens with the people or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was serious about it.
I got to watch our time because we got about 2 minutes left on this, but I want to take it as long as we can so that we have enough time to get to top of the hour and switch over. Also, our top of the hour break's going to be 5 minutes, not
10.
10, right?
Oh, so we're coming back at the top of the hour at like 4 o'clock on the nose.
Kind of, sort of, you know, but
okay.
You know, we need to break it, you know, at least 5 till, so that I can get that in, so we can do that. But whenever you take,
oh, you mean the next, like at the end of
on the third hour, yeah, not third hour, but the second hour, so that we can transition into the third.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the one that's
I have the stops all moved, all moved out for that. And
all right, Barry. Hour 3. I expect you to have some articles like pulled up to talk about, and you're going to take the lead.
Yeah.
It'll be the Barry Power Hour or whatever you want to call it, and I'm your co-host.
Yeah, and Jack asked me to say, if you're going to be talking about chemtrails and water fines, go for it. He said that would line up with what his show would have done anyways a little bit. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got some interesting videos to play. I just need to set it up during that 5-minute break time. Let me know when we get to that, please.
Yep, and also, if you want to talk cryptocurrency, Jack talks cryptocurrency too, and how silver is affected in his show with it.
Oh, Barry, you can do an hour on that right there, Barry.
It's not. And I try to stick with what I.
Okay, that was hour 1, folks. We'll get hour 2 back up here in just a second. Well, I don't want to chat. That's what I want. Got you back. I don't know what happened to Barry. I think he may still be over in the other call. But
I'm here, man.
There you are. Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And we'll use this same room for the third hour as well, just to let you guys in on that.
I feel like Keith Dahmer could be a Japanimation superhero success. I really do. I think that somebody needs to take his character, turn it into a Japanimation, and make him a superhero. And he could fight Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon.
He can fight English culture from the inside.
He can fight himself.
Maybe
As far
I
as
shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't have the camera on.
I'd like to see him punch himself in the face. That'd be funny. Like Fight Club, remember that scene where he's fighting himself and he's dragging himself down the stairs? I was the only person that laughed in that scene in the movie. Everybody was horrified by it, I guess. And I just thought it was hilarious. Because, you could see the security camera was showing, something different than what we were seeing, which was he was fighting with another person. But in reality, he was just fighting himself and then dragging himself down the stairs. It was so funny, dude.
Last time on
sick,
Dragon Ball
sick
Z,
actor, Barry.
Gohan and Goku got their ass kicked by the evil Vegeta. Oh,
Kiyostar powers activate! Form of a tyrant!
Okay. You go for that, Barry.
I'm ready.
Oh man, I can just see him growing up and getting big. You know the Are We the Baddies? He's got one of those uniforms on from that meme.
Yeah.
If we're not the baddies, then how come we got skulls on our buttons?
Oh yeah, he's got to have like a 322 Skull and Bones logo on his front chest,
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm telling you, it'd be a major success.
It would.
Dude, that's it.
Be...
Dude, with AI, you could do that.
Remind me at the top of the hour, guys,
to
switch us over to D Live at near the top of the hour when we do our last transition into the third hour. Okay?
Remind you to go D Live?
Yeah, to bring up D Live. They only they limit me to 3 hours. I don't know. I mean, it's just the standard thing that they do now. We're going to come back a little early on this one, but that's fine. Maybe not. No. It's going to work out. Man, I had this.
You think you could actually make that, though, Barry?
What's that?
Yeah.
You think you could actually make that?
Make what? Well, yeah, it can be. Japanimation is like one of the easier things to do on the different AI platforms. It's very convincing now, especially with Seed Dance. But you got to pay. I'm not really a paying person right now, but there is a couple of free sites where you could do it.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Sure.
we could turn him into a Japanimation character first. Give him a costume. And then say this is the character, and then have generate the scenes of him being the superhero tyrant. To basically not
He's
save
gotta have, like,
destroy the world.
The barrister's hair, right? The wig.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 And he's got to have poopy pants. He's got to have white pants with a big giant brown stain on the back.
Oh, I'm picturing the well, he could have two forms though, right?
When he
activates
anything
his
could happen in anime.
superpower.
The superpower. Yeah.
Activate dictator.
Kiyosama! He has to say that.
It sounds more like you're trying to make him into a Power Ranger.
Well, I have no idea what anime is. Really, I just know that, like cartoon style, like Japanese style of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of watch a lot of anime on the side.
Yeah.
I like some of it, dude. I gotta admit, the real cinematic stuff, I dig it. The hokey stuff, I'm not too fond of, but yeah, it can be done.
I've seen a couple movies over the years that were really good.
Yeah, my favorite's Vampire Hunter D, and the second one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I love those. I love the animation style and how well thought out. I mean, they do really good. And a lot of stuff by Clamp is pretty good too. And Clamp is a group of female writers over there that do that, and then they make their after they write their manga or whatever, then they turn them in. But anyways, you got 30 seconds, and then we'll be back.
I bet there's a few people in the audience right now who are already working on that, Barry.
I hope so,
Maybe.
man.
I hope so too. If
Yeah.
you guys get them, so come find my Discord and share them there.
Oh my
Please.
God! Thank God David Hogg isn't here with us today. Otherwise, he'd be like, "I got it already." Anyways, here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live and on the radio side right now for hour 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night, April 8th, 2026. And Barry, man, did we have a great show last week or what?
Of course, man. It was a all-star cast.
Yeah, Brent Hamachek, the former, he's a vice president over at Human Events Media Group, humanevents.com. And they're now being absorbed by Just the News. So he's, waiting to kind of get his running assignments over there. Works extensively with Common Ground Campus. And we also had Brent, that's Brent Hamachek. But we also had John Ottman, the chairman of the board for Minds.com, on the show last week. And I got to say, I intentionally carved out a half hour and just kind of gave you the lead and muted my microphone. And Barry, you did a great job. It was really, I think they liked your questions the most.
Well, I like Brent and John. They're great people, man. And I really had never had a chance to talk one-on-one with John before. So it was really good. I mean, he's commented on some of my posts over the years on minds.com. But just to be able to kind of talk to him, I've heard him in other interviews and I always thought, he's a likable guy, the likable personality. And it was cool just to be able to kind of talk with him. I like him more now.
Yeah. And apparently his wife is your number one fan.
That shocked me because I didn't even know they were married, dude. I did not know that was his wife. I didn't know that.
I don't know. What's your handle at minds.com?
It's at Peggy 2, and I've told you guys about her before.
Oh, that's her. Okay.
Yeah, I said you gotta subscribe to her. She's great. She's fantastic. She's awesome. She's an incredible person, a really just kind and open person. But yeah, she's been a big support and always has a nice word to say, which keeps me going, man. You got to have some positive reinforcement, even though probably 90% of the stuff I get is negative. But hey, it's part of the. If you're going to do social media and you're truly going to express yourself, expect some hate. It's just going to come.
Yeah. Expect it. But yeah, Peggy too, I had no idea that was his wife. So cool. I was wondering, I kind of missed that when it all came down during the show and I didn't want to stop, the show in its tracks to figure out who she was. But okay, cool. I'll make sure to follow her with a different eye now that I know who she is. But that's cool. It was a lot of fun. And honestly, I think it was one of the better shows we've done in a while. We talked about all kinds of interesting stuff. So, guys, archive.org, go find last week's show for the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, April 1st, April Fool's Day. And we had 2 wonderful fools on the show. Well, 4 of us altogether, 5, including Mark.
The 4 Stooges.
Yeah, so let's see. I wanted to bring up this No Kings thing.
Yeah.
We talk about the World Economic Forum quite a bit and all the, the powers that be, so to speak. And in America, they really don't like kings. No kings. We're not going to have a king. Donald Trump thinks he's a king. No way. No kings. Hashtag. Look it up. It's a huge, huge movement. Yet most of Europe has kings, right? We were kind of laughing at them going to England about it. Name a country over there that really doesn't have royalty still. The vast majority of them do. And are they the ones that are really controlling the power? Because I see it in England as clear as I see the sun in the sky, that the royal family is the one element there that's preventing the people from getting anything they voted for in the last 20, 30 years. And the King of England is also the head of the Church of England, right? And so he's the protectorate. And he neglected to put out a speech on Easter Sunday, but he did not neglect to put out speeches for all the various Muslim holidays over the last few months. And it just makes you wonder where his allegiance is. They've been asking it for years. Is the King of England Muslim?
Mm-hmm.
What say you, Barry? Is he?
I don't think he's really any religion. He might be I don't know, into the dark occult. That wouldn't surprise me. That Bohemian club kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Worshiping Moloch and chanting and doing all kinds of weird stuff, running around naked in the Bohemian Grove forest, whatever they do.
Mm-hmm. There's big movements right now of people in England that are showing up where the king is and saying, we don't want you. They're booing him and saying, step down. I've seen interviews with different people all over on YouTube and from different channels out of the UK that are saying, look, this guy needs to abdicate his throne. He needs out. He is not here in any way, shape, or form to represent or, look after the needs of England. He is a World Economic Forum globalist who is on the power, the train to change the world completely.
Remember the weird painting that he got? It was like this life-size painting. It was in blood red, and there was just like this giant picture in the middle of Baphomet. It's like there's always like some Baphomet symbol or picture in all that they do for some odd reason. Maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know, but it's clearly there. You know what I'm saying? And he loved it. It just looked like, I don't know, a dark and ominous, like okay, if you commissioned me to do a painting of you and I gave you a painting like that, you'd be like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? What do you think? Yeah. What do you think I'm a Satanist?
Trying to insult me?
Yeah.
You trying to insult me?
I mean, what's your problem?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not anything at all what I envisioned. And I'm not paying you.
But he loved it, apparently, But they're into that kind of stuff. I mean, they're into the dark occult. They're into that. That's what all their symbols show. That's sort of what they do at Bohemian Club and Skull and Bones. I mean, it's no secret that they're into that stuff, man. It might have been 20 years ago, but not anymore.
But I don't know. I was watching something about the UK, and I've had this theory now for a long time that it's the royal family there that's just pushing this country down the toilet. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks that, like, gosh, there's like every country has royalty, and they're all doing the same thing. Nobody wants this, but they keep getting it. Why is that the case? Because the powers that be don't want them to get it. What are the powers that be? It's the royalty, and it's all over Europe. It's a problem. Why do they have these people in power at all? Why does England still have a king today? It's ridiculous. Well, they could feed the world for probably 6 months if they just confiscated all that wealth and fed the world for 6 months.
I think it's safe. We can go a little conspiratorial here since we're talking about King Charles. But there was a speech that he gave at the WEF that was very strange and peculiar that not a lot of people picked up on. But he said something about this man that had the power of more than an army that was, I guess, coming to the foresight or something like that. I actually posted the video, and I had to really listen to it to clearly see what he said because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't embellishing it any. But yeah, he there's some person of power that's going to come forward. He thinks with the power of a full blown military. And religious people kind of were freaked out by that because they immediately thought Antichrist type figure. But and it wouldn't even have to be the Antichrist. It could just be an Antichrist type figure, somebody that's got the power of the military, so to speak. But I don't think we ever got answers as to what he meant by that. Was it a Freudian slip? Did he just not speak it correctly? What he was trying to say? But it was kind of weird. And we do get these Freudian slips often from top people. Now, I don't know if it's actually a slip or not, or if they're just doing it because they want to see what they can get away with. Tedros said something really strange during the COVID as well about the vaccine killing babies or something, and it's not good and not right. They do this thing either on purpose or because they're just so evil it just comes out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Explain it.
And if I'm not mistaken, he'll be here at the end of the month, King Charles will, and meeting with Trump at the White House. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. What kind of pomp and circumstance were they going to roll out for this guy? Because, when Trump goes over there, it's a huge thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like the biggest. They have parades. They've got marching, armies and you name it. He gets in the carriage with the Queen and, they inspect the troops and the whole 9 yards. Will they give him something above and beyond what, say, the Prime Minister of Japan just got recently? Granted, it's a king. Japan has a king, right? It's not the Prime Minister. It's different if Starmer comes over than if King Charles comes over as far as the pomp and circumstances. But what will come out of that? What will the reception be? Will it be cordial? And, you see two friends sitting there, as you saw when he met with Queen Elizabeth. Donald Trump and Queen Elizabeth got along like peas and carrots. They were great. Will the same sort of relationship exist with King Charles and Donald Trump? And do we even want that? I mean, look at King Charles's brother, right? Mr. Epstein Island.
Yep. Well, I'm sure that a lot of those people
Mr. Epstein Island
around. What was that one pedophile? King Charles, then Prince Charles, hobnobbed with that one pedophile. I can't think of his name. He had the glasses, the long gray hair, looked psychotic, kind of looked like an Aleister Crowley type dude. He was like raping 13-year-old girls and 10-year-old girls in hospital rooms and doing satanic rituals. And for real, like this is all in the European papers. Seville, is that his name? Something Seville.
I don't know. I was going to make you say allegedly until you actually brought up a name. That name does ring a bell, Seville, yeah. And he was convicted of all that stuff too, wasn't he? Am I wrong?
Well, he died. I don't know if I don't think he ever served any time, but they did find out all about it. I mean, like it's open, it's open, closed, shut case in that regard. And there's no doubt that he was a sicko pedophile with connections with very high and powerful people. Now, I'm not saying that King Charles was a part of that, but he certainly hobnobbed with the guy.
Yeah, it's an interesting little situation they got going over there in Europe with all these kings. And yet America, we scream no kings, yet they're fine with it over there. And they're a much more sophisticated continent, aren't they? I mean, aren't we always told that we should be more like Europe, more refined, less couth,
More
I saw a video. I saw a thread the other day. I can't remember who wrote it. It was just a rando on Twitter. And he was talking about how America built up Europe after World War II. And if we hadn't done that and made the investments that we have since World War II over the last 60, 70 years to keep their country where it is, they wouldn't have a lot of the wealth and culture they have today. And they act like we're the inferior country and we're just a bunch of hillbillies over here. Yet if they stop getting our support, they learn really quick that we're actually the ones holding all the power and control here. They're the backwater. We're the United States of America. Thank you very much. We could crush you tomorrow.
But we don't want.
It'll be interesting to see how the next few years go as Trump sort of stops feeding them all the money they thought they were entitled to.
Well, let me just say one thing about the European eloquence. The guy's name was Jimmy Savile. He was a British media personality and DJ who, after his death in 2011, was exposed as one of UK's most prolific sexual abusers. Check this out. With allegations abusing at least 500 victims, including children as young as 2 years old. He died before he could ever be sent to jail for his crimes.
2 years old. That is demonic, man. You've got to be a special kind of evil.
He literally would use, it was reported of hospital rooms. Apparently he had access, because he had powerful connections. And he did some satanic ritual in one of these hospital rooms and raped some girl. I mean, this dude was nuts, man. And if you look at him, like all these people in power, you would think they would have some discernment. Believe me, if you saw this guy from 10, 20 feet away, you would run because he just looks like a predator. You know what I mean? Seville, go look at the pictures of Jimmy Seville and tell me I'm wrong. He looks like crazy man Aleister Crowley in his last days. Okay? So either they like that or they lack discernment.
Well, there it is. There it is.
I said it. I'm sorry. I can't backpedal now. There you go.
Let's get into speaking of, the dark forces out there. Saturday Night Live, man. They've fallen from grace dramatically. But they just had this roundtable, and one of the Chloe Feynman. Can't say I've ever seen her or heard of her. I haven't watched the show in years because it stopped being funny a long time ago. I mean, it was really funny for a long time, and nowadays it's just completely political. Anyway, they did this little round table, and she asked a question to everybody. Can you name a job that I was fired from? And they're like, no, what happened? And she said, I was fired as a camp counselor. Mike Day suggested that she was fired for hitting on the campers. She said, no, I pantsed a boy. She said, basically...
I've seen this. Yeah, go ahead, though.
He would lift my shirt all the time, she continued. It was a different time. He'd be like, hey, can I have a hug? And then I'd go give him a hug, and he'd lift my shirt like a prick. I'll put in a nicer word there. And then I was like, I'm going to get you back. So we're on a hike, and I was like, hey, name, go look over there. It's a hawk, she continued. And then she yanked his pants down, and then I was fired. She said the boy was about 6 years old, and his wee-wee was out in the air, out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't wearing underwear.
Yeah.
And it's just a funny story, It's pretty funny. You're not a sicko.
Ha-ha.
You're not a weirdo. And that's the thing. Okay, you did it. You were young, whatever. But to laugh about it now and treat it like it's not a big deal, that's the problem here,
I mean, I would think that's like the least of what these people are into. But we're going to find out, man, because we got 30 more days, and Todd Blanche has got to act on releasing the rest of the Epstein files. You see that, right? Massey's pushing to get the rest of them. He said that Blanche has 30 days to comply. So we're going to find out more. Dude, the Epstein file stuff is nowhere near over, man. I've said that 1,000 times. I've been right about it so far, haven't I? I even predicted it was coming out, and then I said another batch was coming out, and bam, it happened the next week after I said that. So I'm telling you now, mark my words, we're getting more Epstein files. This thing is far from over.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. It's the problem is, I think for the left is that it's just not, you're not going to have anything on Donald Trump. You're going to have a whole lot more on Bill Clinton and some other people that were very close to Epstein,
Yeah.
And it's just not going to lead the place they thought it was going to lead, which is straight down Trump's throat, and he's guilty, and he's a pedophile, and, it's a known fact he's a pedophile. The Epstein files tell you that, and you say, okay, which one? Which file? What are you talking about? Well, I don't know which one. All of them.
If they were disgusted with pedophilia, they would actually probably be mad at Bill Clinton, not saying that he is a pedophile, but the evidence in the Epstein files are more compelling that he's a pedophile than there is with Trump. So the very fact that they totally ignore Bill Clinton shows they don't care about pedophilia. They only care about destroying Trump. And it really should be, if you're a decent person, it shouldn't be about the personality. It should be about the victims and these predators, period.
Yeah. If they had the dirt on Trump to that degree, we would have known about it over a decade ago. They would have never let this wound fester for 10 years and then dump it on him in, halfway through his second term, right? It's just not there. If it was there, we would have known about it a long time ago because they've turned over every single rock in the universe looking for any information against Trump, and they've got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So go there all you want, folks. It's just, it's a dry well. You're not going to find it. He likes supermodels. Donald Trump was into supermodels. He wasn't into, underage kids. Supermodels. That was his challenge. That was his, race to the top. And he married one of the biggest supermodels in the world. And, now they've got Barron Trump, who's 7'10" and, handsome as can be.
And maybe a future president. I don't know. Who knows, right?
Yeah. He's very soft-spoken now. I like that about him,
Maybe he takes on his others' traits. I don't know.
Well, he knows it's just, hey, you're young. Don't say anything stupid. So just don't say anything at all. It's better to remain quiet and look like a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And on that note, folks, We're going to go to break. This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break. Great job, guys.
We're halfway through, Barry. That second hour, I'm going to run out of articles. I might be able to come into this third hour with like one article.
Yeah, but we can talk about stuff for 10, 15 minutes easily about anything. So there's no shortage of that. Doesn't have to necessarily be an article. We can branch from an article.
Yeah, but I just want you to, have some talking points. If the conversation starts to die, just be prepared to.
Yeah, when we have that 5-minute break, before we go into the third hour, I'll pull up a couple of video clips so that I can play those. But
I gotta make a sandwich or something. I'm gonna have to make something and eat it in that 5-minute break.
What are we? How much time before we come back on?
About 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back. We're halfway there.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. It's a good night. Hey, thanks for agreeing to do that next hour.
Yeah, I'll do it as long as Barry's running the show.
Yeah.
If he wants to do it, though, then he's got to come up with a name for it.
It's just all censorship sucks until we're done,
Okay.
The Barry segment, a very special Barry segment. Blah, 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 blah.
Bullhorn Barry Power Hour.
Power Hour, yes. Or like he would do, Power Hour. Did it come through?
It's a power hour, isn't it?
Yeah, Power Hour, yes.
Yeah, it's a power hour, isn't it?
Man, I was doing some stuff with the AI music and that, and I was messing around with Rammstein. Man, it sounds so much like Hansel. When it came out, I had to send it to David Hogg. I haven't heard anything back from him yet. I'm sure he's going to comment on it. I'm like, yeah, we don't need to use Hansel's voice anymore. We'll just do. We'll just use Rammstein instead.
Mm-hmm. Are we live?
Not yet.
No.
But we're getting there. Welcome in, everybody that's joining us now and have been with us from the beginning. Appreciate each and every one of you. 30 seconds.
Tell you, I've been embracing the heat lately. I used to fight it. Now I embrace it. Soak it in.
Embrace the struggle.
Embrace the heat.
It's like 92. I just give it, bring it. Let me go sit in the sun for a while and just bake.
Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're live and on the radio side once again right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to hour 2. Welcome back to hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, the fastest 2 hours in radio. Here we are, Wednesday, April 8th, going through all the news that's going on in the world. And let's, I guess, talk about, I've been putting these series of articles off. Let's talk about them at this given point, which is, Representative Jason Crow came out today. I'm not really familiar with the guy, but it's a trend. It's a trend. He came out with some comments on NBC today. Let's hear what he had to say. I'm sorry, MS Now, not MSNBC. That doesn't exist. MS Now. Because, yeah, that's what they call themselves now. It's a podcast. But listen to what this guy is. See if you can see the pattern here that we're hearing from everyone on the left.
Well, accountability will come sooner or later. You can't hide from that. We are taking names. I'm creating my own lists of people that need to have oversight and accountability. It is so important right now that people understand that if you're in this administration and you're asked to violate the law or violate your oath or turn your back on the Constitution, that you will be judged one way or another at some point or another. You cannot escape it.
He's making lists. You're going to be judged, and you can't escape it. This is, again, Representative Jason Crow. I've never heard of him, but they're convinced. There's a group of people on the left that are convinced that everything that Trump does is illegal, and that they can go after ICE agents. They can go after administrators. They can go after Trump's cabinet and put them all in jail for, they say, following orders, but, enforcing the law, doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's shocking. We just saw Pritzker come out with the same statement a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Saying, hey, man, if you're out there, we're making lists, we're making names. If we win, we're going to take you down. Now, George Conway, Kellyanne Conway's husband, the total douchebag, had this to say. He went even further. Listen to this.
And I do think we're going to have also a Democratic Senate. And I don't know whether it'll be 52, 53, 54, maybe even more. And when you have control of the Senate in that way, you can set the rules. And the rules this time should provide for a real trial, not these show arguments, these statements on the floor by managers where there's politicians giving speeches, but where you put on live witnesses and you can show that they're lying and you can show how they're being. And they have to answer the questions, and the Chief Justice of the United States will direct them to answer questions. A trial, a real trial. That's what the framers of the Constitution meant. And that will be, I think, an education for the American people who will be suffering from all of the deleterious effects of Trump's chaotic policies and his psychotic policies. Frankly, he's now just out of his mind. And at that point, the trial will show people that this is not the way government is supposed to operate. This is corrupt, lying. A good trial presentation is going to basically, I think, flip enough Republicans who will be exhausted by this and who will want to rescue their party, if it can be rescued.
And then give him J.D. Vance.
Look, J.D. Vance is, subject to impeachable offense. He may be impeached too and removed. That's also possible. But also, it will have, even if he is not, it will have a.
Okay, so they get rid of Vance and Trump, and then if they control the Senate, then the Speaker of the Senate, the head of the Senate is the next in line. So boom. He's saying openly, we're going to change the rules on the Senate floor. We're going to go after him. And I should have paused it. He rambled on for a long time there. But it's nice to hear what he has to say. It's nice to give you guys the full, context. But at the end of the day, we're going to, put him on trial, and then everyone's going to flip out, and we're going to send him and J.D. Vance, to jail? You know what I mean? Kick him out of office, and then instill whoever is, the leader of the Democrats into power for the remainder 2 years of the term. So they're going to do this, folks. We talk about how we need to just get rid of the filibuster now and get some laws in place that can prevent and bring sanity to the table, because this is the beginning. They're going to expand the Supreme Court. They're going to make it 21 seats or whatever, however many. They're going to stack it so it'll never be anything rational again as far as we would recognize the Supreme Court. They're going to mandate, mail-in voting. They're going to mandate that no ID can ever be asked for to vote. They're going to mandate that the borders open up. They're going to reverse everything Trump has done as fast as they possibly can. And it's like Brent was saying last week, it's just a scorched earth method of government that they will do because Trump bad, anything he did bad must be overturned. You know what I'm saying, Barry?
Oh, man. I mean, do I ever? In fact, I would like to kind of cover that a little bit more in detail in the third hour, because if we lose control of the power, the Democrat, globalist, Marxist, communists, tyrants are going to basically finish the job that Biden started, which we've talked about, man. And we know where that goes. It's horrible. It's full-blown tyranny at the end game. And this is why the globalists and all these Democrats are still pushing forward, because they're hoping and believing that the pendulum will swing back towards their way. And then their job will be a lot easier if they've still been pushing forward where they can versus capitulating. Like, they don't capitulate. That's why, because they actually believe they're going to take the power back again. And that would also go for rhinos as well, because they're all part of the same coin. You know, it's heads and tails. But I think, the very fact that they're still saying all these things shows that they have fear that Trump is actually going to have arrest indictments and convictions. A lot of people think that's not going to happen now. I think it is. And maybe the reason Trump acts like, as he was saying, like a lunatic, is because he wants the Democrats and the globalists to think he's a little bit of a lunatic. Lunatic enough to go for arrest indictments and convictions of all of these deep state thugs that have gotten away with all kinds of crimes for decades, that have basically piled sky high to the heavens, right? And they just keep piling their crimes on top, whether it's Minneapolis or California or Oregon or wherever it is, they just keep doing it. And if they take the power back, that's barely a glimpse of the corruption that will run and rule and reign over America.
Absolutely. And so it is a real high level. I mean, it's shocking, because on one side, we just want to stick to the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, capitalism, make America great, look out for, us first, and retain common sense in life. And the other side really is pushing socialism. AOC, the future of the party, is a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the whole squad. All these people are democratic socialists. Don't discount the socialist part of it, because the democratic part means nothing. It just means you get to vote one time. You get one vote, you vote them in, and that's it. You voted Democrat for them, their socialism. Now you're a socialist country, and you don't really get to vote anymore if it matters. And if you do get to vote and it matters, guess what? They control the ballots, they control the machines, they control it all, and they'll win in 90% victories forever. That's how it's done. Look at any communist country. They love, down in Cuba, they have elections all the time. He wins 90% of the vote because they love him, right? Yeah, because if you don't vote for him, they'll throw you in jail, and they'll also just change your ballot anywhere, throw it in the garbage. It's rigged. Name me one communist country that doesn't have rigged elections.
Right. And like they've said, the technocrats and the globalists and the most powerful people in the world, they've all said, in the future, no one's going to have to vote because AI will decide. That's pretty scary, man. And we know if AI decides that it's not conservative, it's not Christian, it's not MAGA, it's tyranny. It's not freedom. It's not prosperity. It's not any of the stuff that we value here in America, dude. It's the opposite. And so AI is going to be handling all of that if they get their way, right? And think about
it's the hive mind.
They're willing to submit even their own power to the AI like it's a god, right? Yeah. Now they're going to program it in their image, but they're still going to basically submit most of the power to AI. That's kind of their end game. So it's almost like they're paying worship to it.
It's a frightening thing. Like, anybody who's willing to just say, AI can handle all this stuff for us. They can. It's like being part of the Borg. If you remember the Borg in Star Trek, the collective hive mind. No one has any authority to do anything on their own if it's not for the benefit of the greater good, which is fine and all. I'm sure it's
Well, who gets
it's got its pluses and minuses, but that's not what America's about. That's not what we're built on. That's not freedom.
Yeah,
it's the opposite. It's a prison. It's a dictatorship. It's the ultimate letting a machine pick your future. Barry, please say it ain't so. That's the most horrific thing I've ever heard.
Well, in the globalist hive mind, a collective hive mind, as you're talking about, what would be good for everybody is if, you cut your kid's genitalia off, right? And you transition. Mm-hmm. That will be considered good. And to say, I don't think that's a good idea because 80+% of children will outgrow that gender dysphoria. And you're basically going to, give them an early death sentence because of all those drugs as well. And they're never going to experience intimacy in the way that normal people experience it because they're not going to have any pleasure. There'll be no pleasure if they cut it off. That's something a lot of people realize. If you cut the junk off, man, you don't feel anything. There is no, I don't want to get into details, but, there is no, you don't get
cut it off.
What's that?
Well, you cut it off. I mean, that's what it is. That's, that's where it is, if you're wondering. It's gone. Yeah. It's on the floor. It's in the garbage can at the hospital. Well, you don't feel anything.
Yeah, it's sick, man. I mean, so like I was saying earlier, who gets to decide, what this collective hive mind is, and then of course, when you have a collective hive mind, there's not debate. It's just whatever the overlords say. Mm-hmm. And they'll go, well, hey, we're giving you the best advice because, well, AI said it. And AI is basically a god. I mean, because, it's smarter than all of us combined together.
Yeah. Oh. It's not a future I want to live in, that's for sure. I don't want robots picking anything. I don't want them picking out my shirt today. Right? Let alone our systems of government and where I can and can't live. Mm-hmm. There's that old analogy of, you let cars drive, robots, AI drive your car, and you're on a mountain road, and all of a sudden there's almost an accident, and it can either save your life but injure the oncoming car, or it can just drive off the cliff and save the oncoming car. But you're in your car alone. There's 4 people in the other car. So it just says split second, boom, let's drive off the cliff, save the 4 people. Right? You at the steering wheel would never choose to just drive off the cliff and die. You'd say, okay, we're going to hit, oops, this sucks, and you'd have your collision. But you'd live.
Well, dude, think about everything that they're asking us to do in this dystopian, tyrannical, liberal world order that they dream about. It's basically giving up your autonomy. You give up your autonomy for the hive mind, for the collective. You don't get to make your own decisions anymore. We now macromanage your life, but it's going to be beautiful because you're going to be taken care of. We're going to take care of you from the cradle to the grave. Hey, you're only going to live 40, 45, 50 years now, but we're going to take care of you. Don't worry about joblessness. We're going to give you a basic chump change universal income because we are so loving and we care so deeply about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Sit on your treadmill, make some energy, and we'll give you a biscuit every half hour,
Mm-hmm.
Like an episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of that stuff's now like more terrifying than when it first came out because we're getting closer to the bone now. I mean, the kind of stuff that they're talking about, it seems to be in certain circumstances to be a real possibility, Look, whoever gets the power of this, of just AI, right? And they have some sort of world control. There's just no way that's going to ever be good. There's just no possible way that's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the weaponization of government, and I want to kind of bring us back to a point if I can. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, this is a clip from Fox News, was asked about the weaponization of the DOJ. Here's what he had to say. Here's what he had to say. Let me cue it up again. Look what you guys have done. You're going to blame Trump for weaponizing the DOJ? Seriously? Seriously? When he's done nothing and you've gone after him like crazy, and yet you really haven't found anything that he's guilty of per se. And yet there's people that are actually committing crimes out there. But here's what he had to say. This is, again, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. Okay, I bet YouTube took this down. Ha ha, that's funny. Okay, that's what happened. They took it down. But yeah, he just said what I said in a nutshell, more or less, but he expanded on it. That, look, you're going to really start hemming and hawing now, and he starts pointing to people. Look at some of you. You're looking down. You can't even look up at me right now because you know you did it. You know you were excited to hear the DOJ go after Trump and go after all Rudy Giuliani, all the people in his cabinet, put a bunch of them in jail for nothing, for garbage. And you didn't report and say boo. Now Trump's talking about bringing some justice to people who actually deserve it. And this isn't even necessarily high people in government. We're talking here to a large extent about just rank and file, people out there in engaging in fraud. And it's weaponization of the government somehow. No. It's a load of garbage, man. I want to see arrests every half hour, every 30 minutes on the 4th of July from midnight to midnight. Perp walks every 30 minutes. That's what I want to see. I want to not even sleep for 24 hours because I'm watching perp walks and fireworks and eating hot dogs.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, brother. I mean, hey, it's what we all want. It's what we're all craving. It's what we all believe, and we're not going to give up that hope. You know, maybe if, say, Trump's in his third year and we have no arrest, I probably will say, hey, it's not going to happen probably. And I'll come out and say that. But I'm pretty confident, man, that we're going to have them because if we don't have them, bad things are going to happen, not just to America, but the world, but also Trump, man. They're not going to relent with Trump. Once he gets out, they're going to go after him, man. Big time. And his family. They've already said all that kind of stuff. So he's got motivation to do the right thing and arrest all these people, whether they're a conservative or a liberal or whatever, that have committed these crimes, right? Corruption, mass corruption, crimes against humanity. Yeah. We got to go after them all. And some of it may have to continue after Trump leaves office, you know, because I think there's a lot of stuff with the, it's just my personal opinion and I have the right to voice it, but I think a lot of people are going to jail. I mean, a lot of people about the vaccine.
Exactly. That's the thing I'd love to see. I think most Americans would love to see a lot of people go to jail about the vaccine.
100%.
It's just in Fauci, man. Where's the perp walk there, man? He should be the first one right at midnight. Let's go. Let's kick it off with Fauci. Because, man, if that guy didn't commit crimes against humanity, who has? And, you know, they're really focusing, though, the left is, on Trump's family. They want to see them all going down.
And I don't think we can trust them at all. I mean, think about it, dude. They said 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I don't think it was 2 weeks. I think it was 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, but not 2 weeks, my friend. They lie. I mean, they just put that little, you know, they make it seem like it's going to be a minor thing so that we comply, and then they get us into submitting to it. And I don't think Trump wanted that. In fact, he was like, open up, man. You know, he was against all the leftists. He's shutting down indefinitely forever. So I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming, you know, whoever's behind that. Those are the people that need to be held accountable for that because they did great damage. And think about it. Whenever a vaccination kills just 2 or 3 people, they shut the vaccine down immediately. I think it was like the swamp vaccine, but maybe it was the 70s, and it killed 3 or 4 or 5 people, and they ended it right then and there because there was some sense of moral fiber back then. But we have hundreds, thousands of deaths based on the VAERS reports, and we have other reports that indicate the same thing. Dr. Peter McCullough has given those statistics in congressional types of testimony. I've put them on my social media. He actually used to work for the CDC until he became the whistleblower. Then they wanted nothing to do with him. So, yeah, we need to have people held accountable for pushing this drug, this vaccine, whatever you want to call it, that many people don't believe was effective and was not properly tested.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see some justice out there. But have you seen Gavin Newsom's wife in the last week or two? Any of the statements she's made?
Oh, she's nightmarish.
Yeah.
She's like woke to the upteenth. I mean, she is like, oh man. I mean, can you imagine being married to her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Here's what she said the other day. I mean, this is again, she's a very pretty lady. I'll give her that. Right? I can imagine that end of it. But the like woke craziness, she gives her girl dolls and stuff to, when she reads story times to them, she changes the gender of the characters.
Yeah.
Okay. But she also said the other day, or she warned, quote, boys we all know are moving away from more progressive. Boys who have spent time online are moving a little bit, I'm trying not to be political here, but are moving to the right and are being sort of influenced by the Andrew Tates and some of the sort of alt-right socialization online that we know is very, very dangerous. My husband and I are alarmed when our kids were watching sports online. My son knew about Andrew Tate, thought he was pretty cool. We were one of the most progressive households, and our son is confused and asking all these questions. Remember when Gavin Newsom said his kid was a big fan of Charlie Kirk when he interviewed Charlie?
Right. I do. Yeah.
He's like, well, why don't you bring him in? He's like, well, he's at school. He can't miss school. He's like, Charlie's like, dude, you made him miss school for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, quote, we're working on legislation to hold tech companies accountable and help them be a force for good so they won't go down this rabbit hole of very dangerous and limiting narratives around what it means to be a girl, what it means to be a boy. We owe it to them and ourselves to kind of heal the gift of modern technology, but curb it to be a force for good. We're trying to institutionalize our values so that they carry on beyond our own term. We're trying to legislate. She wants to legislate that boys don't get access to, I don't know, conservative thoughts, GOP, Republican.
If there's any level of tyranny, that's a pretty heavy level of tyranny. And like I've said so many times before, I mean, there wasn't any president that I know of that was more tyrannical, more authoritarian, and more king-like than Joe Biden. So they like authoritarianism. They just like their brand of authoritarianism, liberal, leftist, lunacy, authoritarianism. I don't like any version of authoritarianism myself. I like freedom, and I like justice, and I like prosperity, and I like to be left alone. I don't want to be bothered, and told what I have to think, what I have to say. I mean, I don't want to be controlled. I want to think for myself, draw my own conclusions, and if you don't like it, tough, and I don't want to be censored either. Pretty much. I mean, there is a difference between at least us on the alternative right, if that's what you want to call us, conservatives or what have you. We truly believe, we don't like what the left says, but we certainly believe they have a right to speak their mind as long as they're not breaking the law. They're not inciting violence or something like that. But like you said earlier, man, that you would fight to defend their right to free speech. I feel the same way. I hate what they're saying, but they don't want that. They don't believe in free speech at all. They want to keep that, all the diverse ideas out of the school system and just preach their craziness, their insanity, and their lunacy, and then demonize us and say we're the bad guys when they're the bad guys. But honestly, I don't think that we should be putting that kind of stuff in the books anyway. And if you are, then you need to give all sides of the story. You need to be respectful of all opinions. Like if you're going to be going with this woke leftist stuff, then you have to have the conservative viewpoint and say, hey, this is how people on the left think, and this is how people on the right think, and you can draw your own conclusions, and somehow we need to get along. But that's not how the left is. The left wants to completely do away with the right, cancel us, send us off into oblivion somewhere.
Because they can't debate. They're not good at debating. If they were good at debating an Andrew Tate, they would debate Andrew Tate and they would make a fool of him. But they can't do it.
And she chose
because they'll ask him, what is a girl? And they'll say, well, it doesn't matter. I don't know what a girl is. I'm not a biologist. And poof, he wins. It's that easy.
Yeah, and she chose him because he's got some controversy, and maybe some of it's true, maybe some of it's not. All the stuff that he's done that he's been accused of that's bad, I don't support that. But him being a man and stepping up to the plate and not not feeling ashamed for your male masculinity, I like that. I like that.
And on that note, we're all out of time for this hour. We'll be right back with another hour after this. So, folks, stay tuned for more of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show right after these messages.
All right, we're on our radio break.
Right on, man. Is this a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm setting this up, man.
I'm going to mute because I'm eating here. I'll be back. I'll be listening to you, but I'm just going to mute.
Sure. Mark, what's going on, man?
Not much.
Tell me a story while I'm setting this up, man. Talk to me. We don't want dead air.
Yeah, well, there I was. Mind my own business, fishing for the giant megalodon outside Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Are we switching room?
Yes, we are, but I want to give it a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait for you to call me back then.
Yep. Okay. All right, Barry, I'm going to cut us off and get us set up for the next round. All right?
Leaving this.
Yep. And then we're going to come right back in here. All right. End that meeting, start a new one, and we'll be right back with Hour 3, a special Hour 3, with Barry doing Censorship Sucks to finish us out for the first 3 hours of tonight's broadcast. Let me get the crew back in here. And get us back up on OBS. There we go. Got about a minute and a half, and then we'll come back in.
I'm scarfing down a little meat pie here. It's really good.
Huh?
I'm scarfing down a meat pie.
Cyber attack this year.
Okay.
Well, do you have articles that you want to cover, or do you want me to start in with the video?
I got one. I have one article we didn't get to.
Okay, well, we'll start off with that then.
Oh, we don't know. No, I can bring it up later or whatever. It's about aliens.
There you go. 30 seconds.
Oh. Okay. We can bring that. That's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. I got this queued up, and the audio seems to be working, so we're good.
All right, you take the lead. You're going to bring us in on the whole show.
Barry, here it comes. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live and on the radio side right now.
Hey, everybody, this is Bullhorn Barry with the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and I get to do that. That's the first time I've done that, I think. Maybe the second time. I don't know. Felt kind of good. CS, how you doing, man? It's glad to have you on the show tonight.
Doing great, man. You did a good job. You nailed it.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
We're doing a very special hour 3 tonight. We don't normally do 3 hours, so I thought it'd be fun to give Barry the lead role here in the third hour, and let's see what we come up with.
Yeah, let's get to what I was talking about, and you were talking about, and we've both been talking about for a long time, and that is what's going to happen if we drop the ball and we lose control of the conch. Because a lot of people seem to be turning on Trump right now, and I think that's a very bad idea. I think it's completely and perfectly okay to be upset with some of the decisions that he makes. You know, if you feel like he's making a bad decision, I get it. That's understandable. But to completely bail on Trump is not a good idea, because we still need him to do good, even if he does end up making some mistakes. And I said from day one, back in 2015 even, that Trump would be a mixed bag, that he's going to make some mistakes, but overall he's going to do more good than bad. And I think we need to keep that in mind and not just abandon Trump and say, oh, he's the devil now. Oh, he's working with the globalists. He's part of the New World Order, which there's absolutely zero evidence of that. I've gone over that many times on social media. I mean, he just endorsed, what's the guy from Hungary? What's his name? He's
Viktor Orban.
Yeah, Viktor Orban, and he's anti-globalist. So the globalists don't want him to win. Trump's not a globalist. Not in the sense of, you know, wanting to create a liberal world order or a one world order. But anyway, the thing that I was trying to say is that these people, the Democrats, the globalists, the power structure, I said earlier, they're using their foothold strategy. That means they haven't capitulated. They haven't surrendered, and they have all kinds of plans. And this may be a little bit conspiratorial, but it's videos like these that make those conspiracies seem even more real. And this is the head of OpenAI, ChatGPT, Sam Altman. He's in some interview with some guy, and the guy just seems like a complete and total psychopath. I can't show you the video because we're on radio, but if I could, you would see he's almost gleaming in the eye that this is going to happen. He looks psychotic when he asks the question. But I'm going to play that video, and then we'll talk about it after the fact.
There will be a world-shaking cyber attack this year that would get people's attention. It sounds like you agree with that.
I think that's totally possible. Yes, I think to avoid that, it will require a tremendous amount of work. Also, in a sort of resilient style approach. Again, it's not just like make one AI model safe. It is defenders. We have this thing called the Trusted Access Program. Other companies have other things, but you know, cybersecurity companies, the major platforms, the governments using this technology to try to rapidly secure their systems, the open source stack, all of that. So basically we have Sam Altman agreeing that there is going to be a world-shaking cyber pandemic. Now, we talked about this on the air quite often during the shamdemic about how the globalists were saying and declaring and decreeing that there was going to be a massive cyber pandemic and that it would happen before the end of 2024. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah.
And so when you hear these people talking like that, it literally sends a chill down my spine because, you know, I don't think it's going to be some random hacker from Russia or China. I think it's going to be possibly some globalist who wants to use the crisis as a way to usher in a very unpopular agenda like we saw happen during the shamdemic. And so these kind of videos, I mean, they're just shocking to me. What do you think?
Well, I think with the advent of AI, these types of things could be developed in a lab with a handful of people and a lot of computing power to create systems that would go out, and we just saw like Russia attacking all these different routers. You know, you have the Internet of Things. You get into a router in a home, and suddenly the Internet of Things becomes a network of all these different devices. Your toaster can take down Amazon. You know, not your toaster alone, but toaster Amazon's ever sold from, the beginning of their time, all working together at the same time, could take down Amazon, right? With DDoS attacks and whatnot. And so, you can point all the toasters in the world at Amazon. You can point all the, refrigerators, the smart refrigerators at Microsoft. You can just take your kitchen appliances and start pointing them at different key infrastructures. And, with the help of AI, and really just you train it to say, this is the best thing that can happen to humanity. We really need your help. How can you help us? And it'll say, okay, this is how you take down humanity and kill half of society. So is it possible? Yeah. Do I expect it this year? I sure hope not.
Yeah. Well, there was
creating a monster.
There was a strange video that's circulating on X by Elon Musk's former squeeze Grimes. I don't know if you saw it. I talked to you a little bit about it before the show. And she was saying that she was talking about AI. I mean, she's an AI artist, a singer. She's into the whole technocracy and the alien, robotic, merger between humanity and machine. I mean, she's all into that. I mean, no wonder Musk liked her. But she said, she's a little bit concerned that AI is going to take over the art world, I guess, to some degree at some point. But she said there is some good news, basically, and that is that a population drop is coming, a massive population drop. And we can play that video as well. So, who are these people that are wanting and fantasizing about cyber pandemics and population drops and depopulation? They're so fascinated with depopulation, right? Because we're the virus, man. We're the problem. I think they're the problem. I think the people that think that humanity's the problem, those are the people that are the problem. And we need to stand up and stop listening to psychopaths like Bill Gates talk about how we're not needed anymore because the robots are going to do all of the jobs. Wrong. And he said, we'll decide. He didn't mean us. He meant his little secret shadow cabal will decide, because by that time, he believes there will be a liberal world order and a collective hive mind where they're controlling everything using AI. That's his dream fantasy. He even wants to dim the sun so we never see the sun anymore. These are psychotic people, and I'm tired of being quiet about it. I'm tired of not saying anything about it. I'm tired of people trying to silence me and tell me, shut up, because I'm not going to be quiet. Because if we don't speak up, this is what awaits us. Now, I've got another video right here, man. And we were talking about what's going to happen if the liberals and the globalists take back control. This dehumanization agenda, that's what a lot of it's about, is dehumanizing, right? Think about it. This is the most psychotic video. This comes from TLC, the network TLC. And it's a video. It's just a little short clip. I think it's about a minute. We'll play it. And it's of this woman. I don't know if I should tell you too much, but let me just go ahead and tell you anyway. She basically lives to abort her baby. She's had 56 abortions, and she has a boyfriend, but it's platonic. He just supplies the semen. They don't have any intercourse, and he pays for the abortions. I think it's like up to $12,000 so far. And she's waiting and can't wait to do another one. This
TLC?
is
You said it's TLC. That sounds like tender loving care, like TLC, like a nice friendly family show.
Of course. And this probably in some people's mind is tender loving and care. I mean, think about it, dude. A lot of the stuff, the euthanasia stuff, they consider that to be care. They consider that to be love and mercy. I mean, you got a back pain, we'll kill you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we covered that story. This 70-year-old lady maybe goes into a hospital in Canada with some back pain. And the first thing they did was offer her medical assistance in death. Before they diagnosed, before they did anything, here, would you like to die? Are you here today to die, or are you here today to get rid of your back pain? Yeah, I'll check B. I can't tell which. Did you check A or B? It's hard to tell. You kind of didn't really fill in the box well. We'll go with A. Right?
Right.
Medical suicide and death. What is that? It's one of the leading causes of death now in Canada is the government killing its citizens.
That's right. You got it, man. And that woman that we talked about on the show, she actually went on the Glenn Beck show, and I think it was like yesterday. Go check out that video. He interviews her, and she said the very first thing they asked her was, would you just like to die? Not get treatment, not get help. And from her opinion, they basically just wanted to free up another bed. You know, it's sort of like Bill Maher talked about, whatever it takes to get the highway moving. He's for it. Depopulation, get rid of the people. The people are the problem, especially elderly people, because they're going to cost us too much money to take care of them. I mean, this is really all part of the dehumanization. But speaking of the dehumanization, here is that video of the woman that lives to abort her babies because it's so loving.
Jessica, I am 38 and I am addicted to having abortions.
What Jessica is doing is not technically illegal, but it is incredibly concerning.
I just love the feeling of it. I met this guy on Facebook dating. We don't have intercourse. He kind of just does it in a cup, and then I do this method where I lay on my back with an injection tool. It's been a really good relationship because he also pays for it.
To date, I've probably spent a little over $12,000 on abortion procedures.
I've had 56 abortions so far, and I'm actually going to be 57 here in a couple weeks. If I did end up having a child, it would just be so that I can raise them so that they can get pregnant, and then we would continue because I don't ever see myself stopping. My name is Jessica.
And that was TLC Network, as I stated before. I pulled it off of X, and the video shows the TLC logo on it. So I'm assuming that it's from TLC Network. And
where's Jerry Springer when you need him, man?
I mean, it
sounds like a skit from Jerry Springer.
It sounds like an SNL skit, you know, one of their pedophile skits. Remember how Rock's done that, and Tom Hanks did some weird pedophile skit as well. I mean, what is up with all these people in positions of power that they're so just absolutely bizarre and I would argue almost, evil in many cases? You know?
I don't get it. That mentality right there, that you can get, 100, what would you say, 1,000 abortions? I mean,
she said 56 or 8 or something.
Oh, yeah, thousands of dollars. Yeah. 50. Okay, whatever. That mentality, though, is disgusting. You'll never be. I don't see how she'll ever be able to have a kid if she, wanted to at this point.
Well, I'm sure her cancer rates, everything has just gone up. I don't think she'll live, a whole lot longer. You can't do that to your body and do that kind of evil and not backfire on you. But it
in your
did.
soul.
Oh, yeah. Well, this outraged me like nothing before. I mean, I don't think something has disturbed me as great as this has, but it also sent a very cold chill down my spine because it's evil personified. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like she not only takes joy in them, but wants to have as many as she possibly can. And apparently, this is not illegal. So she can continue murdering future babies as long as she can get pregnant and as long as she can follow through with the abortion. And this is all part of that dehumanization agenda. And I would say, and I would argue that this is a lot to do with leftism and wokeism has infected like a mind virus this woman's mind to where she doesn't consider human life to be sacred and something that you just dispose of for your personal joy. And look, it's been rumored through whistleblowers that used to be a part of the satanic cult or whatever, that they would, have women get them pregnant to offer up the baby to Satan because it was legal. They could legally murder the baby that way. I mean, this is well known. If you go check out the videos of former Satanists who have supposedly said this is what they do in some of these dark covens, these dark satanic churches. And it's legal. I mean, they have some abortion expert, that's clinically able to do it. So it's all legal, but it's still satanic and it's still dark and it's still disgusting. And this is the kind of stuff that's going to be like much more systemic than it already is if we allow the left to take control again. So please get off of this. I hate Trump. I hope Trump fails. He's betrayed us. We've got to get Trump to do as much good as he possibly can in the next almost, 2.5, 3 years. So I'm just begging with y'all, please understand what we are up against if we lose.
It's a big deal. It really is going to change very, very quickly because there is panic on the left that they understand their policies are unpopular. Remember, they did a whole report about the last election, and they never released it, right? That's something they've never done before. They never looked into a big report about why did we lose, and then never release it to the public of their findings, because it was them on the wrong side of every 80-20 issue. The wrong side of everything. Them looking down on middle America. You leave Manhattan, and then everything between, New Jersey and San Bernardino, basically, we can go further. We can take it all the way into East LA, is just nothing. There's nothing there to them, right? You might pull over a few places to pick up money from people, but they're all just the flyover countries, the little people. You don't need their vote. They don't matter. They're just uneducated, unwashed masses who shop at Walmart, if you can imagine such a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
No understanding of what the average person's life is like, how they live, what they struggle with, what they don't struggle, just no understanding of what's important to the average person and why they vote the way they do. And they're not going to course correct. That's the crazy part. They're not going to. They're all in on nut. They're all in on wacky, stupid, retarded positions. All in. They want to be able to take your little kid and transition it in school behind your back, and that's a hill they're willing to die on. And it's shocking. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who just go to work every day, come home, and when it comes time to vote, hey, I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm just going to pull the lever. But you're not watching what's happening on a day-to-day basis. You're not seeing the lunacy. Maybe you turn on CNN and you see, okay, Trump crazy, Orange man bad, I'm still going to vote Democrat. But you're only getting a tiny part of the story on the mainstream media. The vast majority of everything is being ignored, left out, and denied to you, because it would change the world if people really understood the gravity of what's happening. You're waking up in England. You're starting to see, if you haven't been in London in a long time, maybe you haven't been in London in 10 years, you go down there today and you're going to say, what is this? I've never been to the city before. I don't recognize it. This is London? I mean, I see the streets. I remember this corner, but it looks nothing like it did in the photo I have with me and my grandpa from, 1980. Unrecognizable. A 1,000-year history there, and it becomes unrecognizable in one generation.
I know, and I mean, I've said so many times, and I'm sure it's ad nauseum, and I apologize for that, but it really is speak now or forever hold your peace. The problem we have, as I've said before on one of the other shows that we had, was, the reason we have all this insanity is because not enough people have spoke up. Not enough people have challenged, the left's lunacy and insanity, and has tried to step in their way and say, no, we're not going to go down that route. That's not what America is. It's not what we want it to be. But we are speaking up more. Don't even get me wrong. I mean, I'm not doom and gloom here, but I'm saying that they are doubling down in every single possible way because they believe they're going to get the power back, and we have to prevent that from happening. We have to set a trend that not only resonates all across America, but that literally resonates across the globe, so that there is truly the fulfillment of a great awakening, not just the idea or little brush fires of awakening here and there. We need to become the predominant force in the world so that actually things can be done for the better for everybody, right? Instead of this collective hive mind garbage, And I can tell you this too, Christians are going to be really persecuted bad if the left gets control. I mean, just look what they're doing now. I mean, they basically canned a basketball player simply for having a Christian belief. That's what they did. Yeah. They canned him.
I heard they made an offer to him, though, that he would do some coke and beat up his girlfriend. They would give him his job back.
I saw that. That was Babylon B. Force, man. Yeah, it's very true. It did happen. Maybe not, but yeah, it's just think about it. Let me just put this in a different perspective. why would he even need to wear this LGBTQ plus rainbow jersey or whatever it was they were asking him to wear when that's not what basketball's about? I mean, think about it. What if it was a Christian that owned the whole organization? They said everyone must wear the cross and say and says Jesus is Lord on their shirt, and knowing that maybe half or more are not believers. You don't think they would be upset about that? The atheists, the agnostics, Buddhists, the Muslims, even the Jews, right? They would be upset because they don't believe in Jesus. So it's wrong to I mean, basically, you can't force your moral belief on people and make them celebrate your belief system. That's insane. Everybody has their own moral stance. And
I'm reminded of "In God We Trust," though, you know, on the dollar, on all our currency.
Yeah, but it's vague. God could be, you know, to certain people, God is just themselves. A lot of people believe, especially in the occult and in the New Age, they believe they are I am. They believe they are God, right? They believe they are divine. I reject that idea, but, you know, everybody is free to believe what they want to believe in a free society, and I totally support that, man. Completely, 100%. Yeah. And
to debate ideas, too. That's the thing. To be able to debate ideas. They fired this guy for sharing his thoughts. And now he can't debate his ideas because he's been silenced for his thoughts, for his personal beliefs. And that's what's wrong with it. That's why censorship sucks.
Right, right. And if the Democrats get control again, you can mark my words, it will create so much chaos. It will create so much chaos that there will be more churches burning down. You can almost guarantee it, dude. That's how, you know, whether it's radical Muslims or radical Antifa or just people that think that Christians are the problem. You know, look at the transgender shooters, man. They specifically targeted Christians. In one specific instance, they targeted children in a Catholic mass. Yeah. These people that are not right in their mind, but you never heard the media say, let's calm down the rhetoric, let's calm down the hostility. No, a lot of times whenever it turns out it's a transgender or a Muslim that did the shooting, they cover it up. That's how fake the news is. They won't even tell you the truth because they want to keep dividing us.
Unknown motive, they call it. Whenever you see the motive is just unknown, the police have no idea, you know the motive is really obvious.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's amazing how many cars have just
the calling card.
Killed people, you know, on their own accord. Cars just running over, you know, pedestrians at Christmas celebrations and all different kinds of festivities, just, you know, autonomously acting on its own. But, hey, if all the cars become autonomous, they'll probably do that and blame it on the car. Say it was just the car that took over. It wasn't that radical Muslim that drove over all the Christians. No. It was
I told the car. Will we be able to tell a car to go to the farmer's market and just run right through it? Probably not.
Well, if you hack it, I'm sure that somebody will be hacking those things.
I bet you could. Yeah.
I think, you know, once the cars are fully autonomous, you're not even going to get to pick the road you want to go down. Like you say, I want to go to, say, I don't know, Office Depot, and I'm at this location now. And it's going to map it out.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to go.
I want to take Scenic Lake Drive. Can we take Scenic Lake Drive this time?
Well, no, because that would be your carbon footprint would be too high.
But I want to see the lake. It's a nice Sunday afternoon. Let's drive by the lake on the way to Home Depot.
Never happen. It won't allow it. That's what I'm saying. They want to basically turn us off from functioning and thinking for ourselves. And then once they do that, our brains turn to mush and jello, and we're not able to do it anyway. You remember that old commercial with Alec Baldwin, and he was talking about how, you know, they brainwash us and they're all aliens, reptilians. They're basically here to turn our brains into mush. Well, I kind of think that's the goal. That's the goal of a lot of these people, is just basically to turn people's brain into mush. Just scroll through TikTok for an hour and your brain will basically turn to mush. And I'm sure there is some sort of scientific thing that's actually happening to your brain that's absolutely not good for it, nor good for your well-being. Just scrolling absolute nonsense for hours on end. And some people do that literally. I think the average person spends 4 hours scrolling. It's insane. Who has 4 hours to scroll?
Yeah, right. It's just one long scroll, though. It starts in the morning and ends around lunchtime. You know what I mean? It's just a long, continuous scroll. It's not like any independence. It's just life, you know? It's an existence for them. But we got about 15 seconds. You want to take us out?
This is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, and we'll be back for the second hour after this.
Third.
I'm sorry. What did I say? Second?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to tell if you look in the messages too. I was going to tell you you could have took this out to the 20 till part.
That's what I was going to do.
Oh,
but that's fine.
But
yeah, we're good. We're good. This is acceptable. This is when Jack would take his break anyways, so we're good. Don't worry about it.
That's all good.
We're within parameters. All right. Parameters are good. Yeah.
And we're definitely getting a Kia
You're
Stomach.
doing really good there, Barry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Take a more Paul Harvey approach. I think you could nail it.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know who Paul Harvey is?
I don't know what a Paul Harvey approach is.
Oh, this in the news. We're going to talk about this, then this, then this, and then go down the list. I'm like, and that's what I think.
And that's what I think on that. In other news?
Yeah, that's how he did it. I always liked Paul Harvey. How about you? Did you ever listen to him?
Oh yeah, of course, man. And that is the rest of the story, right?
And that's the rest of the story. Damn right, Let's get that going.
What would I do if I were the devil? Right?
Yeah, I think he did that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. That's one you could play like every year, It's worth looking back on that often.
Yeah, it becomes more real, it seems like, by the year.
It without permission is...
I almost feel like queuing that up on Sunday night and playing it in its entirety. How long is it, Mark? Do you think it's like 5 minutes?
It may be less. His little clip was only like 25-minute long anyway, so he had to get the rest of the story in after that and make a commentary.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was one of the greatest commentaries of our time. Yep.
Yeah, he would never be allowed in that position.
Not in this day and age.
Paul Harvey, if I were the devil.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make a pact. I'm sure the fake news has made a pact with the devil. So I wouldn't want somebody that would be opposing that, to be one of their anchor men.
Well, he was an anchor for years and years before he just did commentary, too. And, when he did the news, I always liked him.
Actually, it's only 3 minutes long.
Really?
Oh, we could play that right now.
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine. When we get back, because we have about 2 minutes till.
You want to do that, Barry?
Whatever you want to play, man. I got one more video queued up as well, so that's two.
Check it to make sure it plays, guys. And
I don't.
Yeah.
Always remember the source. We're still on the radio side.
You have the video?
Can you hear that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Barry, if you want to pull it up, Paul Harvey, if I were the devil, and play it on your end, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll keep it till Sunday.
Will we have two breaks, or are we going straight to the...
If you send me the clip, I'll download it and actually have it so that, that it's played as a file. We won't be able to hear it,
I'd have to get
I could send you the clip, but I'd have to type this whole thing out into my phone to send it to you. It's literally just go to YouTube, Paul Harvey, if I were the devil.
Okay, I'll check that out later on. Just remind me later on in the week.
Oh, yeah, forget it then.
because I have.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll forget, and I have like lots of stuff to do tomorrow. I got kids.
No, I thought you meant in the show tonight, not next week. Like in the show tonight.
I can, if I can get it and download it, I can have it up and ready for Sunday.
Okay.
Okay.
No big deal.
And you just tell me when to cue it, and then I'll play it.
Bring it if you want to talk about it, though. I mean, because it probably will fit into everything we're talking about. So
30
bring
seconds,
it up,
fellas.
and then sort of
I'll tell
just
you what,
and tell everybody.
I could probably read it.
Yeah, read parts of it, and then tell everybody, hey, on the Sunday show, I'm going to play the whole thing. Kind of give a teaser.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great idea. Good
Actually,
thinking there, Barry.
God. If you took 3 minutes to read this, you paused a lot.
Yep. And here you go. 5,
Very cool.
4, 3.
It's hour 3.
Got it.
1, and you're live and on the radio side right now.
Welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. This is hour 3, the second hour, and John has been very kind to let me sort of lead the third hour. So we're going to be covering some stuff that I've been wanting to cover, and I'll be able to kind of get some feedback from John because, I'd like to hear his opinion. Sometimes we don't always see eye to eye, which is perfectly fine. I think that's great. That shows that we're not scripting anything. We're real. We have different opinions. We vary on things, and that's okay because it's all about having the civil discourse, man. And we can do that. Yeah. I don't ever get mad at John when he disagrees with me or he has a different opinion.
Oh, no.
I don't want to stone him. I don't want to kill him. I don't want to cancel him.
Yeah.
I like him.
Just because you're a moron who knows a lot of things that are wrong doesn't mean I'm going to get in your face and be disrespectful. You know what I mean? No offense.
I feel you, man. I mean, I feel the same way. I feel the love. It's so strong. Speaking of love, we know that the tyrants on the left basically
rainwater is a public
basically love us, right? And we've talked about on the show before about how in some places collecting rainwater is a crime. And in Oregon, this guy was charged with 9.
Oregon. I hate to do it, but the second time just tonight you said Oregon. It's Oregon, like oregano. So
Oregon.
Oregon. All the people in Oregon are like, well, why is he calling it Oregon? What's that?
How do you
Never
say
heard of it.
Say it again.
Oregon. Oregon, like oregano. Oregon.
Why is it A in then? Why is it O in?
If you ask any local in Oregon, they'll say it's pronounced like oregano. Oregon.
Well, you got to admit, Oregon. It sounds like a bathroom cleaner. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that Oregon to clean the bathtub out tonight? I did. Thank you, honey. Thank you, honey. I did. Thank you for the Oregon. But anyway,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to correct you on that once and for all. Oregon.
Because you're always right, man. Okay, and we never fight except for right now.
Yeah. Just because it grates on people. People from Oregon really hate that if you call it Oregon. It's just one of those things. Nevada, they don't care.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to offend anybody for sure. That's not me. I mean, I've never offended anybody. Anyway, this video is from Oregon. I think I said it right. A man was convicted and jailed for collecting and using rainwater on his own property. The state is so tyrannical. It believes it owns the rainwater that falls on your property. This is what awaits us, folks, if we allow the left to take back control. This is a leftist tyrannical thing. And remember when the shamdemic happened? The tyrants came out of the woodworks. They were everywhere. And if you doubt that they're waiting in the shadows right now to come forth, you're wrong, because they are. They're ready to come out, man. Some people live to basically rule and reign over people. They get a buzz off of it. They like it. They want it. They love that power. Some people are like that. I know that's not how most of the listeners on the show are. I know that's not how most of the people that I know are. But the people in power, they love it, man. And they want to rule over us. So here's that video right now.
Water is a public resource, and collecting it without permission is illegal.
In Oregon, a man was convicted and sentenced to jail for collecting and using rainwater on his own land. The state government charged him with theft. Rancher Gary Harrington built 3 large reservoirs on his property to collect rainwater and snowmelt. Harrington said the water was primarily used for fire prevention and to provide drinking water for wildlife. However, the state classified his actions as theft and brought criminal charges against him. Under a municipal regulation, all water resources within city limits, including precipitation, are considered part of the public water supply system. The city asked the court to order the removal of his water collection system and impose fines. Despite multiple appeals, Harrington argued, "The water falls on my land. I didn't sell it. I only used it on my own property." The court ultimately rejected his argument. In the end, Harrington was convicted on multiple charges, including the illegal use of state water resources. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail and fined more than $15,000. The case sparked strong public backlash, with many residents calling it an act of tyranny. If a person cannot even own the rain that falls on their own land, what do they truly own?
That's the question. That's a video that came from TikTok. I don't know the source other than that. It had some news clips that were actually real concerning the actual incident. And it's just nutsville, man. I mean, obviously there is this hunger and thirst for control over the masses, and we have to put a stop to it, man, because these people will continue to do what they do as long as they can do it unabated. And what I mean by that is if we don't stand in their way peacefully, legally and lawfully, and oppose their tyranny, it will only grow. And the shamdemic is a perfect example of that. I mean, it's an amazing thing that we actually even came out of it, because I think the only reason we came out of it was because in America, we had a thing called state sovereignty. And that sort of helped open the door all around the world as well. That's why they want to take America captive, because once they take America captive, the whole world will fall under tyranny. America, as long as it's a beacon of light, total tyranny will not reign over the world. That's just pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty incredible what I've seen the government do with people, trying to do things on their own property. But, that's the thing. Like when we talk about having 1 billion AI robots that, follow us around all day and do anything we want, you'll say, hey, dig a hole over there. And it'll say, I just checked and I'm not allowed to dig at all anywhere in this area on your property, sir. I'm sorry. It's illegal to dig a hole now. And so you want a hole there. Okay, you got to just dig it yourself and hope the robot doesn't come fight you for the right to, take it away from you. But, this dystopian world where it's all taken care of us. We've all got these robots. Everyone's just going to have it all made for them in the shade and sit around, and your robot will make you a soda whenever you want one. And, but what will be allowed and what won't be allowed? It'll all be regulated to the point where you can't you have a great idea for a project, and you're going to borrow all 10 of your neighbors' robots for a week and make this, new mud clay home out in the desert, and you can't even do that on your own property.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because you'll have to live in the pods in the city,
Oh, the pods. Wonderful. Yeah, the pods. It's such a lovely community pod, as a matter of fact, sharing a bathroom and shower and everything. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And if you noticed, I mean, it all started with, you got to have a license for just about everything, fishing, hunting, going to play basketball, pickleball, cutting your own hair. I'm sure there's probably going to be a license for that sometime. It's too dangerous. You got to be trained. You can't cut your own hair, right? I mean, I'm being a little facetious here. I'm being a little bit over the top and using some hyperbole. But is it really completely hyperbole after all that we've seen? I mean, how far will they take it? I think they'll take it as far as we allow it. I really do. I don't think there's any lid on their tyranny. I think they'll just keep encroaching because they want to totally micromanage us and charge us some sort of little fee for every little thing, where we can't do anything without their permission. That's where it all leads, man. I mean, where would they draw the line? I mean, are they going to say, oh, you can't date this person? I mean, that's really far out there. But if you've seen some of the Black Mirror episodes, I kind of think they're almost telling the future at some point.
Yeah, Black Mirror was just an incredible series, folks. If you haven't seen that yet, go check out Black Mirror. I haven't seen some of the most recent seasons. I'm sure there's probably one or two I haven't seen, but I've watched most of them, and man, they're phenomenal. Just some of the best television out there. I wouldn't call it television per se. It's drama, 1 hour sort of scenes that unfold that just show these dystopian potential futures that are, really weird and crazy. which kind of what makes me want to talk about aliens. Can we talk about aliens?
Let's talk about aliens.
Okay. There seems to be a number of people coming out of the government lately. Tim Bruchette, most recently. We had some leaks a month or two back, and then we had somebody else, a rather well-known politician, as well in the last week or two, talking about how people are coming to them from the military and saying aliens are real. We've got like breeding places where humans breed with them. Some hybrids are walking around in power. We've got these ships that are the size of, well, they have these ships that are the size of football stadiums that can travel underwater at over 200 miles an hour. And on and on and on. And I mean, for them to even be here, they have to travel at or near the speed of light to even make it here. You know, I mean, you look at some of our closest, planets, and they're what, like 1 million light years away? I mean, this universe is massive. So how do you travel 1 million light years in less than 1 million of the speed of light is the fastest you can travel? And why would they even come here 1 million years ago? There was nothing resembling humans or intelligent life here. So it's an interesting stuff. But what they're saying is prepare. Aliens are real. They're coming out. It's going to be a thing. Get ready. They're saying we can't tell the people because they'll flip out. But at the same time, they're telling us. And I don't know, Barry. Are aliens real?
I mean, I don't know where to really even begin with all this stuff. I have dug into the UFO community. I spent about 3 months researching it, and I really found that a lot of the stuff that's in the UFO community, that's not government stuff, but just the UFO community, is really very similar to the occult type stuff. It seems, a lot of it seems like dark occult stuff as well. Again, I don't want to really get into all of that, but I will say this. It reminds me of Genesis, I think it's like 6 and 3 or 6, something like that, where it talks about the fallen angels having come into the daughters of men to create these Nephilim, these giant men of renown, the Bible called them. And it's believed by many Bible scholars that this was part of the reason why the world had gotten so evil, was because of these half-breeds, these fallen angels that mated and married women because they found them to be attractive, to be comely, as the Bible says. And it was a great sin, apparently. There's been other books that have been written about it that aren't in the Bible, like the Book of Enoch or the Book of Giants, that are fascinating reads. I don't believe they're canon, but they're definitely give you an idea of how people thought during that time period about that particular passage. And this is like something that is like really dark and evil. And there is this strange biblical scripture in the Gospels where Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be during the coming of the Son of Man. And some Bible scholars, I'm not saying all, but there are some, especially modern day scholars, who believe that that means that what was happening back then, this sort of interbreeding, this unlawful, ungodly act would be happening before the return of Christ. So as a believer in Christ, all of that stuff seems to kind of be taking some real shape. If you read the book of Enoch, this was a terrible sin that was committed by the angels. And God was definitely not pleased with it. And he punished them and put them into chains of darkness until the day of judgment in Tartarus. I think we'd call that the abyss or hell, in a dark dungeon. And this is also kind of also echoed in the New Testament as well, where it talks about the angels who sinned. And it specifically seems to be regarding sexual sins. It's in the book of 2 Peter and Jude, where it says that these particular angels are locked in, basically in Tartarus, which is, I think, what the book of Enoch says, something similar to that as well.
So you think there could possibly be quote-unquote aliens, but they're probably fallen angels?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that the crossbreeding thing, which I think God finds to be disgusting, because it's all about, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to destroy God's order because we hate God's order. That's why they do GMO. That's why they, chemtrail the skies. They want to destroy God's order. That's why they want to transition children to another sex, because we don't like God's order. These people are not atheists. These people are people that hate God. And the Bible does say that those who hate God love death. So that makes sense as to why people say, hey, this is a death cult that's wanting control. Well, yes, because
but
they
if
hate
you
God.
look into that, Barry, too, it says those that came down, will not receive death. They can't. They can't die.
Yeah, well, in the book of Enoch, it talks about, and this is something that a lot of scholars.
I think you're quoting stuff from like L.A. Marsuli. So yeah,
I'm just
who goes along with that thought of thinking, and yeah, there are some basis to that.
Well, I mean, I think everybody's going to have their opinion on it, have their worldview opinion on it. To me, I've researched both sides. I've looked at every side. I'm not one of those people that's afraid to look at other people's opinions. So I look at all of it, and I based my opinion on what I think seems to be the most viable, likely scenario. But hey, everybody's can have their own opinion, and even people that
how do you know that they're not going to say God created them as well, just in a different timeline, so to speak, and they're not like, in other words, I think a lot of times when religious people are asked about aliens, it comes down to that it's automatically going to be some sort of a conflict with the gospel, or the Bible, and yet it wouldn't necessarily have to be. You'd have to see, are these benevolent, like what, and if they do exist, it changes everything about society going forward. You know what I mean? Like if they tell us, hey, this should be a law that this or that, and it's hard to argue with them. You've got the society of 1 billion years coming down to help us, and we should take their advice, so to speak. I don't know. Might be flying around.
Yeah, but when you think about it too, if the angels and the demons come from a different place, they are alien. So, you have to look at it that way as well. Whether they're from another place within our universe or in another universe coming in interdimensionally or extra-dimensionally, they're still alien.
Like Mexicans.
Yeah, like Mexicans. And people coming across the southern and northern border.
If there are aliens from another planet, that doesn't frighten me or scare me. That doesn't change my faith and what I believe in Christ. I mean, and again, I didn't say I know that. If you heard what I said, no, I don't know that. I said it reminds me of this. That's what I said, just to clarify what I'm saying. But also,
and not that it scares you, but that there'd be some potential conflict there. I don't know.
I don't see that. But anyway, I think that a lot of people also simplify angels and demons, especially Christians. They really kind of put it into this really simplistic category, but I think it's much more sophisticated than that. If you read the scriptures, you'll see Jesus even said this kind doesn't come out of a person. In other words, without fasting and prayer, there's different kinds. Who knows exactly what that means? We've seen certain things like in the book of Ezekiel, what an alien might look like, pretty wild with lots of eyeballs and wheels and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of ambiguity, I guess, that comes with all this stuff. But I think that's where some of these other books that aren't in the Bible, that are not, I don't believe are inspired, they can maybe help give some insight as to possibly, and it's all speculation, of what might be occurring here. But what is known and believed by most religious figures, Jews and Christians, I don't know about Muslims, but this kind of genetic modification is evil. It's bad. It's wrong because it's going against the natural order of things, which causes problems. That becomes problematic. Like when you take the DNA from an insect, a flower, or a plant, and you merge it in with corn to create something unnatural, cross species, that comes with problems, right? I mean, even the cows, the pigs that were fed the GMO corn, a big percentage of them had inflammation of the stomach. And that didn't happen when they were fed regular corn. So we see that when you start messing with God's natural order, things start to fall apart. And maybe you go, well, I don't believe in God. Okay, fine. How about just the natural order of the universe then? I mean, you can't understand that, right? I'm not preaching here. I'm just giving an opinion.
Okay.
That was the end. You were supposed
Welcome to the
jump
gospel hour.
No, I'm not a preacher at all. I
don't know. Aliens to me is just a fun thing to sort of think about. I don't try to source it back to, I don't know, any religious text or whatnot, but it does explain a lot about how Egypt got where it is and got the stuff it got, and a lot of ancient constructions. Lord, tell me how they did some of that stuff,
Yeah.
Well, so it would explain a lot, but
there's a lot of wild theories out there that go beyond the Bible, but the Book of Giants covers some of the things that are outside of the Bible as well. Like they did these sins with animals as well. So there were like crazy beasts and animals, according to the Book of Giants, which we only have like a very small portion of the Book of Giants, but it reads like a science fiction book like no other, man. It is out there. So there's all kinds of theories that go way outside of the Bible. In fact, most of the people that have a similar theory to mine, they all source from the Bible as well. They source from many different sources, Sumerian texts, biblical texts. I mean, I've been down this rabbit hole. That's what I'm trying to say. And I just think it's fascinating. And that's why we're talking about it, is because it is interesting. And you don't have to agree with anybody's opinion, but these are what people are saying. These are some of the ideas that are circulating out there. And if it is an alien, okay, fine. But you know what? They're not going to save us. If they could have saved us, they would have done it a long time ago. I don't think anybody can save but God. That's just my opinion. The aliens aren't going to come to save us. That is a Hollywood script, man. And if you trust anything coming out of Hollywood, I feel for you, man, because the aliens aren't coming to save us.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, they're not, if they're there, they've been there the whole time, right? They've been somewhere in this area for a long time, since, the dawn of man. And if they had ill intentions for us, they would have likely brought them out before now. But we could also be reaching a technological point where they're able to start showing us things and like without, I don't know, if you sort of take the Star Trek theory where you don't really want to change the course of things, maybe they've been doing that until we reach certain levels, and then they can start saying, okay, be careful with this. Don't go that route with it at all. Go this route. Right. Or things along that advice, not necessarily save it, but just overlook and share technologies and just make sure we head down the right path once we get to a certain point. I don't know. I mean, if they're there, they're out there in the quiet, not saying anything publicly. They're just maybe speaking with certain leaders of the world, And why are we all at war all the time, right? If they are out there, why is Putin? Putin's spoken with them. He would know about it. Why is he at war with Ukraine? Like, why? I don't know.
Well, there's some rumors. Again, I don't know how, reliable these rumors are. But there's a lot of talk from among the UFO community that these aliens have stopped, the nuclear codes from going active a few times. I don't know if that's true. It sounds like a whopper to me, but it's definitely something that circulates among that group. Like I said, I'm pretty familiar with the UFO community and the kind of practices that they do and the things they do. And here is one thing I do know. The two top ufologists have said that these are interdimensional creatures. So even if they are aliens from another planet, they are interdimensional according to them. And they're atheists, both of them. And they said they are more akin to the fallen angels of the Bible, that they are actually malevolent and not benevolent. And that's why when you see all these people that are being abducted, it's terrifying and horrifying. And even though it's terrifying and horrifying, some of them actually like it because they think they're contributing to some greater good of some kind. But all the experiences that I've listened to, and I've listened to hundreds of them, or these abduction experiences, and they're not pleasant. They're not good, but yet some of them actually welcome it and keep it coming because they've been told that this is being done to help save humanity, right? They get abducted, they get their, whatever DNA taken from them, or maybe a semen sample or an egg, or they get impregnated, some of them supposedly. I mean, and it usually happens when they're asleep. So that could give credence to the fallen angel theory. Like, again, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just talking about what's out there.
Exactly. And on that note, where can people find you online, Barry?
You can find me on X, Bullhorn Barry, or Minds.com, Freedom Fighter Victor, and also Freedom Fighter Victor on Truth Social.
Excellent. Well, it's been a fun show tonight. We've done
You wanted to bring
3
up
hours.
aliens, man. That was on you.
The what?
You wanted to bring up aliens, so there you go.
I did. I didn't think you turned it into a 15-minute monologue on the Bible, but, there we go. It is what it is. Folks, this has been the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. We will see you on Sunday night. Thanks so much for listening. Mark, our producer, will be right back with more after this commercial.
And by the way, I like L.A. Marzulli, too.